Yes, sir.
Yes, check, check.
Check, check.
Hello,
check.
this is Danny Beck here at the site of Southmoreland taking on Charleroi. I'm hoping this is good. We're just here, back and forth.
Check, check, check. I'm here next to Danny Beck, and we're ready to. Okay, check, 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 check. I'm here with Danny Beck.
The following is a presentation of CUTV Sports and CUTV Sports 1.
Hello and welcome into Myron Patio Stadium at the site of yet another CUTV Game of the Week. This Week 2 matchup will pit the Charleroi Cougars against the Southmoreland Scotties. Welcome into the broadcast. I am Danny Beck, and joining alongside me today is Colin Kirkwood. And Colin, this is your first time announcing for high school football.
Yeah, Danny, it's such a great opportunity. Thanks to everybody who got me here, and I'm looking forward to call a great game with you.
Very humble, very humble. And this is also our first live edition in the history of CUTV High School Game of the Week. And we are live online, so if you're watching on YouTube, welcome in. It's definitely going to be a cool one. This is the first time I'm announcing high school football this season, so I'm really looking forward to seeing some football out here. And actually, we're going to take a look at the scoreboards from last week. And South Park took on Southmoreland. And as you see right there on your scoreboard, kind of a lopsided game for that one. South Park came away with the victory.
That's right, and Southmoreland's looking to get back out here on the field and, maybe avenge last week and move forward.
And on the other side, Washington, a very strong Washington team as well, took on Charleroi and came out with a victory 36-8. So both of these teams, Colin, looking to really bounce back after an off game last week.
You could definitely say this is a battle of two teams looking to get back on track here, and I'm sure they'll both do as much as they can to make that happen.
And the last meeting between these two teams, as you see a graphic come up on your screen, as Charleroi took on Southmoreland last season, actually, and Southmoreland actually fell 41-14. So this Charleroi team, led by Gino Pellegrini, a name that we mentioned quite a few times on our high school roundup show on CUTV, he was really the star of this offense and really asserted his dominance in that game and looking to come back out here and do the same exact thing.
And that's exactly what you want from your quarterback. You want him to be a leader, and you want everybody to get right behind him and lead you to victory.
Yeah, most definitely. And also the tail of the tape, right before we go to this commercial break, we're going to take a look. Actually, we're going to wait till after the break. Kind of getting ahead of myself, but stay tuned as we have a few more graphics to come up and also some football as we come right back here on CUTV's Game of the Week.
Dylan, what's wrong, man?
I just don't know how my family back home in Buchanan, West Virginia can watch our stuff up here.
They can follow us on Twitter, or they can like us on Facebook.
That's awesome. What about our sports? How can they watch that?
They could watch it live right on our YouTube channel.
Awesome, man. Thanks.
You're welcome.
For the first time in 31 years, live high school football all season long on CUTV Sports 1.
Hello and welcome back into the Magic City as Charleroi and Southmoreland are right in the middle of the field, shaking those hands and get those coin toss ready to go. And what I mentioned before, Colin, the tail of the tape, kind of got ahead of myself. Like I said, it's my first time announcing high school football this season. So now we're going to see the tail of the tape. And clearly you can see both of these teams, for Charleroi at least, they played in the Week 0 matchup, and Southmoreland didn't take part in that. And you know, they got the one victory, but they couldn't finish it off last week against Washington, a very strong team in Washington, so you really can't blame them. And the other side for Southmoreland allowed 42 points. And this Charleroi team will pour it on if they're able to.
And that's totally fine. You're going to have that in the early part of the season. Hopefully they'll be able to work out some of those kinks on the defensive end here in this game and get back on track.
And both teams kind of sitting in the middle of their divisions or in their conferences. For Southmoreland, they're in a division with Derry, with Elizabeth Forward, Mount Pleasant. And you see a lot of those teams doing well later on in the season. And also in the Century Conference for Charleroi, they're in with Washington, Beth Center, Fraser, Brownsville, a team that we covered earlier on. So that's just as a threat later on in the season. You really got to get these wins early on in the season to really solidify your spot later on. And you see there the temperature, 52 degrees. It is football weather. It most definitely is. As we had to really prepare, bring some jackets with us here tonight. Something that we don't normally see is last season, it was pretty hot these first few games of the season. As this is our third game that we're covering here with CUTV. But it's most definitely football time here in Western Pennsylvania. So actually, you see there, Charleroi will be getting the ball first. Back to receive there is Travis Little on your screen, as well as Dakota Romantino. A few names that I know, Colin, you're not really familiar with any of them, but I remember saying these guys last season where Charleroi took on Greensburg Central Catholic live on PCN. So saying a few of these names, it's going to get familiar very quick.
Right. And if I do remember correctly, we also have another game on PCN coming up later this season.
We definitely do, and I believe that is a Bell Vernon game. A Bell Vernon and Trinity, I want to say. Not quite positive on that, though. As Ronald Rodriguez will be kicking it off for Southmoreland. And this ball is going to go into the end zone. So Charleroi gets some good field position. You know, you see a lot of these teams, you see the ball coming at you for the first time. This is a little bit getting into the not latter part of the season, but you know that your first two games are behind you. You really get those nerves away, but see some of the guys return the ball at the 2-yard line, then you get stopped. You don't really have a first drive.
For sure, that was definitely a smart move. You can get good field position for your offense to come out on. It's always something you want to start the game off with.
They'll start at the 20-yard line. You know, it's something different as well. In high school, they start at the 20, not the 25 like the NFL. They just made that change come up. So starting at the 20-yard line. As a name that I mentioned, Gino Pellegrini at the helm for his offense in that shotgun formation. So he's going to get it and give it right away to his running back. That's going to be Hunter Perry, as he's going to push over to the left side of the field, the far side of the field, and pick up about a gain of 6 on the play.
And you got to admire that fight from him, Hunter Perry. I mean, just look at the way he refused to go down. He's amped and he's ready for some Friday Night Football. You can tell for sure.
Comes up, pushes in, get to that second level of the defense. The defense just trying to knock him down however they can. As I said, a gain of 6, they're actually going to mark it a gain of 7, so it's going to be 2nd down and 3, ball on the 27-yard line. Looks like they're going to stick with that shotgun set. They have 3 wide receivers out to the right. Pellegrini's going to give the ball off again to Hunter Perry, and this time the defense sniffed that one right out and gobbled him up in the backfield.
That's a great play with that defensive line to break through the offensive line and get in there and really shut him down.
Disrupting this offense early is Southmoreland. They allowed that good pickup. You like to see that early on in a game, getting their running game involved. That opens up venues for their passing game. Southmoreland just trying to lock them down. It's going to be 3rd and 3, ball on the 26-yard line. Pellegrini's going to drop back to throw this time over to the right, and that is going to be over to Cameron Carter. He's going to push forward and pick up a 1st down and more for his team as they're going to move the chains.
Yep, first catch of the day for the senior wideout. Hopefully he looks to get a lot more.
There's a good pass out to the right, as you see here on the replay. Pushes up, a little bit of stiff arm right there. That's a big man move as he pushes up past the 40-yard line. They're going to mark it down at the 41. So like I said, they're going to move the chains. Fresh downs to work with. 10 minutes and 35 seconds left in this first quarter play. Pellegrini's going to drop back over to the left this time. Throw it right back over to Cameron Carter. Like you said, Colin getting involved. And that's 2 passes, 2 completions in a row. And this time another 1st down's going to be picked up.
Definitely gelling here, and they're getting in the groove, looking to have a strong game between the two of them.
Actually, they're going to mark it as 2nd and 1. It's even a little bit gracious to call it 1. It's about a 2nd and inches. And the referee's standing right in front of that chain, and it's not going to mark it a 1st down. So nonetheless, 2nd and 1, ball on the 49-yard line, now into Southmoreland territory. Pellegrini's going to give it to Hunter Perry yet again. He's going to push into his own lineman and keep going. This resiliency from Hunter Perry. Colin, are you looking through a crystal ball? You said that resiliency on the first, basically the first possession of the game, the first give to the running back, and now here's another one, still resilient.
We're in the Magic City, so that must mean I'm the Magic Man.
Looking into the crystal ball as they move the chains yet again. Ball on the 40-yard line, so pick up about a gain of 9 on the play. As Charleroi just keeps marching down the field. Southmoreland needs to have an answer to this running game now. As Pellegrini drops back to throw, steps up in the pocket now, moving to the right, and he looks like he's going to keep it, pushing 1 defender off of him, and he's going to pick up some more yards. Looked like he was trying to sneak out of bounds, but he stayed in and kind of tiptoed down the sideline.
That's a good display of balance right there to be able to keep in and get a couple more yards to give to the cause. And look at that. He went for a little stiff arm there too. Got the balance, he's got the vision, he's got it all.
Like I said, Gino Pellegrini, he's actually a junior, so he's getting some more experience under his belt. Last season, I think he was even a blue ribbon play for most of the year on High School Roundup. So he's really just getting some more experience and showing it out there on the field for his Cougars team. He's going to drop back and give it over to Hunter Perry. This time moving over to the right, has some green field ahead of him, and he's going to push down to just about the 11-yard line. And they just keep chugging away, getting these yards any way they possibly can with the passing game and now the running game.
Yeah, Charleroi is definitely coming out with a good offensive mix here, balancing out the run and the pass to keep the defense, you know, from getting set in. Have to keep them on their toes a little bit.
Most definitely, you took the words right out of my mouth. It seems like they're on their heels a little bit now, and Southmoreland tries to draw something up, and Charleroi just goes right around him, stiff arms them, runs right through them any way they possibly can. As now the ball is going to be at just about the 10-yard line, so they're going to mark it at the 10, 1st and goal now. Pellegrini is going to look to give and fake out everybody, even fake out me up here in the booth, and he's going to get into the end zone for a touchdown. Gino Pellegrini on the ground, put some points up on the board.
And you are totally right there, Danny. He faked us all out. He probably even faked out some of our cameramen as well. He definitely sold that. There you see him on your screen, taking off right on into the end zone.
He just kind of sneaks right in and faking it out. I mentioned that he faked me out. I was kind of looking to the far side of the field, then I saw Pellegrini streak down to the right. Put some points on the board. That's all you can do early on in this contest as the kick is up and good. So just like that, Charleroi started at the 20-yard line, marches right down the field, and put some points up on the board. Stay tuned as we have some more high school football action right here on CUTV.
Friday Night Lights shine on CUTV. August 25th, California at Brownsville. September 1st, Monessen at Carmichael's. September 8th, Southmoreland at Charleroi. September 22nd, McGuffey at Elizabeth Forward. September 29th, Franklin Regional at Connellsville. October 6th, Trinity at Bell Vernon. October 13th, Rochester at California. October 20th, Newcastle at Ringgold. October 27th, Washington at Best Center. Live on CUTV Sports 1, tape delay, CUTV.
Welcome back into Myron Patio Stadium as Charleroi marched right down the field and put up a quick 7 points on the board. And like I mentioned, Colin, pretty much just look through a crystal ball. I'm going to keep saying that. It's just something about the Magic City and Charleroi and all that. But they just march right down the field using their passing game and their running game to their advantage.
And we'll see if Southmoreland here can respond on their opening drive.
As number 9, that is going to be Chad Miller, streaks right down the middle of the field and gets them even better field position than Charleroi had. And, you know, you saw Charleroi come right out of the field, right out of the gates running, and we're going to see if Southmoreland can.
That's always a huge boost for an offense, having such good field position to come out on, even just to start the game alone. That's fantastic.
It looks like they're going to start at the 40-yard line even. So even better, you're right almost at midfield to start your drive. That's exactly what you want to see if you're the special teams coach, coordinator, whatever. They're probably doing multiple different jobs out there on the field, as we see in these kind of lower divisions, as actually Southmoreland's going to have to call a timeout. Not too much time on the play clock. And the head coach coming out there looks a little bit frustrated, as it's their first drive, so you really have to just get those cobwebs out, use what you learned in practice, and try to implement it in your game now.
And we've got the Century Conference standings here with Charleroi right smack in the middle almost at 1-1. And they did play a conference game last week, correct, Danny?
They definitely did. And actually, the South Park, actually, no, they did not. They did not play. I'm all over the place. They played Washington last week, so excuse me. And Washington, you know, they pretty much run this conference normally.
For sure.
You know, we'll maybe be able to see a little bit of a change as Charleroi has had some success in the past, kind of up there towards the top, and they're looking to do that exactly just that this season. As now we're going to see Southmoreland get their offense started. It's going to be Zach Carunto for the Scotties, and they're going to actually give it over to Colt Harper. He's going to push up in the middle of the field and pick up about a gain of 5 on the play.
And he's just rumbling along there. He's like, feed me the ball.
He wants to eat like Zeke now that Zeke can actually play. As you mentioned, ran right up the middle and kind of just exploited the interior of the Cougars' defense on that one. Now with 8 minutes and 40 seconds, the huddle breaks as everybody gets into position now. 2 wide receivers, one to the right, one to the left. They actually have a slot receiver out there as well, as Zach Carunto is in that shotgun formation. One guy in motion now. I give guy right up the middle of the field. That is going to be Ronnie Robinson. He's going to be dragged down at just about the 34-yard line. But they really must have seen something in film. They're just attacking the middle of this defense, the core of this defense.
And that's an explosive run there by the junior. He makes some great moves to get free. He only had one guy to beat. If he would have took care of him, he would have been straight to the end zone for 6.
And Dakota Romantino is the one that really came up and made that I guess, touchdown-saving play, if you will, as it looked like he was trying to juke him out kind of made the wrong move to the right. He's not going to give the ball off yet again, this time to number 22, Colt Harper. It was actually Jaden Datz, excuse me. I kept saying Zach Carunto, and Jaden Datz is the quarterback for this Scotty's team.
The senior quarterback. That's always a huge thing to have for a team. That's normally somebody who's got a lot of experience at the helm of their team, and they've got a lot of knowledge to share with some of the underclassmen that are coming in.
Just now with 7 minutes and 40 seconds, center pops right out of that huddle. 2 wide receivers to the left and 1 to the right for Scotties. Still in that shotgun formation, 1 guy in motion, that is Cade Richer. As they're going to give the ball into the inside yet again. That is 3 rushes right up the middle, and that is going to be Colt Harper on the play.
Colt Harper again coming out with a lot of energy here to start the game as well. It's always good to see a team come out super amped up and ready to compete.
And that's going to bring up about a 3rd and 1, ball on the 25-yard line. Southmoreland, like I said, they're just attacking the interior of this defense for Charleroi, and you might want to see some of those linebackers kind of creeping into the middle, kind of force them, push them out to the outsides. They're still in that tight formation is the Scotties. Give the ball off yet again to the inside, and Charleroi sniffed it out this time. It's going to bring up a 4th down.
And you're right about that, Danny. They are definitely attacking the interior part of this defense. Whether they've seen something in the film or from previous experiences, they are definitely picking up on something.
And it looks like Jaden Datz is trotting back out onto the field, so they might be going for it here. And you don't really have anything to lose. They started their last possession at the 20-yard line. Now, if you don't convert here early on in this contest, they only start at the 25-yard line. So you really don't have anything to lose. Maybe a smart decision here from head coach for the Southmoreland Scotties. He's going to push forward, see where they mark him down, and they're going to say they picked up the 1st down right away. No doubt about it, as he was about 2 yards ahead of that 1st down marker.
And that's a bold statement by the head coach of the Scotties to go for it on 4th down on the first drive of the game, no less, for them.
Definitely a way to gain some confidence for your offense. It just instill your trust in your quarterback and your running backs, wide receivers, whatever. As now they have a fresh set of downs to work with 5 minutes and 50 seconds left here in this 1st quarter. And they're going to give it off again, this time to the outside over to the right. And that was Colt Harper, as he's going to pick up about a gain of 8 on the play.
Another great run by this Scotties offense. Finds his way through and picks up a nice gain, spinning off people.
Big hits from this Charleroi team, as Charleroi now will call a timeout, I believe, and they will, as you see the head referee there. We're going to keep it here, though, and, you know, Colin, both teams, they're running hard, they're running fast, and you mentioned a word, resiliency, and resilient. Just both of these teams coming out strong, putting their heads down, running over people, stiff-arming, whatever they can to really help their team.
And that's definitely something that makes high school football so great, to see all these young men come out here and really just grind it out and have a great time and represent their school.
You see right here on the screen the interstate conference standings as Southmoreland, yet again, kind of sticking in the middle. You really don't have much wiggle room, as you either see a few wins on your record or a few losses, and you're sitting in the middle there with only about 1 game played, a few teams with the 2 games played. But that week 0 matchup, we mentioned on High School Roundup all the time, just the week 0 matchup is kind of a feeling out process. You kind of see who is good on your team, who you can rely on your team. And for Southmoreland, they really didn't have that. As Charleroi comes into this contest scoring on the first drive, they have a little bit better feel of their team. Southmoreland now gives the ball right up to the middle yet again. This one is Ronnie Robinson, and he's going to be met by a few Cougars defenders, only picking up about a gain of 1 on the play. It's going to bring up 3rd down.
And perhaps maybe the Cougars have finally caught on to the game plan here. We'll see what they turn to here.
3rd and 2, ball on the 15-yard line. About 5 minutes and 5 seconds left. Milking the clock down definitely is Southmoreland, as they started their drive with 9 minutes and 12 seconds left, as about 5 minutes came off the clock already. Jaden Datz under center, and he's going to just take it himself and rush right up the middle. Kind of took Charleroi off a little bit, as they're going to pick up another 1st down. And I believe be a little bit short, so they have to pick up another first down before they get in goal.
And that's a sneaky move there. Not everybody sees that coming.
It will actually be 1st and 9. 1st and goal from the 9. They snuck forward and picked up a few yards.
I wouldn't be surprised to see a pass here.
Looks like they have that formation, kind of have that slot receiver, and then put him in motion. And that's most definitely Colt Harper. This time it's going to be Cade Richer. He's going to move it over, and Cade Richer is going to get the ball. There's a flag on the play as Cade Richer was met by a big hit from Charleroi. Like I mentioned, there is a flag on the play. It's going to be holding on Southmoreland. Kind of see the head coach for Southmoreland put his head back. You don't really want to see that early on in the contest. You don't want to see penalties. You don't want to see anything that will set you back later on in this game.
Either way, that's totally fine for them. You're still getting, you're getting yourselves ready to go here, and you really want to get things revved up. But they'll easily be able to come back from it.
See if we'll be able to spot that holding call, and you can see it right there, number 77, Chase Calhoun, and he just kind of get his hands a little bit outside of the shoulder pads, and that really just impeded the progress of the Charleroi ensuing defender. Can't do that as now they're pushed back to the 22-yard line, 1st and goal from the 22. 4 minutes and 15 seconds left in the first quarter.
This is a tough spot to be in for sure.
Southmoreland, they're going to give the ball off yet again. This time it's going to be over to Colt Harper. He's going to push forward, rolling around on his head. Kind of looked like he was breakdancing, Colin.
He was not breakdancing, but if he is, it's a brand new move that we haven't seen before. But it's always good to see a nice old-fashioned. Wow, look at that.
That's what I was talking about. He's kind of just spinning on his head. Good replays there from our cameramen. It's now with 3 minutes and 35 seconds left in the first quarter. Southmoreland trying to pick up some yards back from that penalty they incurred. This time it's going to be over to Chad Miller. Chad Miller's going to push forward and pick up some more yards on the running game.
And Danny, this reminds me a lot of our matchup last weekend with Carmichael's running it on the ground a lot, and Southmoreland seems to be taking the same approach.
It's now Southmoreland. Ball's about the 8-yard line. 3rd and goal from the 8. See if they can push this one right through. And you mentioned, Colin, you haven't really seen many passes, in this first quarter of play, or see if they get to bring Charleroi on their heels. 2 minutes and 45 seconds left, and right there is a pass right into the middle of the field into the awaiting arms of Cade Richer, and he's going to get into the end zone. And just like that, 7-6 now. We're going to see if Southmoreland can get this extra point.
And hats off to their offensive coordinator there. He really sold the run. And by the time they made it down to the end zone, he was able to fake a pass and make a pass. Good for 6.
And Cade Richer gets his first touchdown of the game with 2 minutes and 41 seconds left. And like I said, we're going to see if Southmoreland can tie this contest up at 7. As Ronald Rodriguez is going to be kicking it for the Scotties. And there's some movement up front as there will be a flag called, kind of a late flag. They blew their whistle. Nobody threw their flag out. And it's going to be encroachment on Charleroi. Offsides, whatever have you.
And we'll have another kick here. And Southmoreland's kicker, Ronald Rodriguez, is spotting some really interesting cleats, Danny.
Yeah, I like them. I see these, there's like normally soccer cleats you see kickers wearing, and those soccer cleats are very bright. You see those bright orange up here. They kind of look like there's a little bit of yellow up on front of them. And they're just going to attempt the kick yet again. A few yards closer. You can kind of see them.
Look at those.
I believe they're Nike, I even think. So it's a common, soccer cleat, football cleat, whatever. It's an athletic cleat, I guess you could say.
That's right.
It's a good word. Blanket all of them.
And being that the two of us are huge kick fans.
Oh, without a doubt. We can appreciate them. As Rodriguez's kick is up. And it is good. So his cleats paid off on that one, tying this contest up at 7. Stay tuned. We have some...
California University of Pennsylvania's award-winning student television newscast. Your source for live, local, late-breaking news. Forecast from the CalU Weather Center. The region's latest entertainment news. Vulcan sports highlights and regional scoreboards with television news coverage you can't get anywhere else. Watch it live Thursdays on CUTV and on demand. CUTV News Center, online all the time.
Hello and welcome back into Myron Patio Stadium as Southmoreland marched right down the field, kind of mirroring what Charleroi did on that first drive of the game. And this time they scored through the air as Jaden Datz found Cade Richer in the back of the end zone and scored. So we're going to see if Charleroi can answer right back.
And now the feeling out process is officially complete. They've seen each other, each on a drive, and we'll see what happens from here.
It's Ronald Rodriguez in his bright cleats kicking this ball away to Charleroi. And yet again, Cameron Carter is going to receive this, and he's in the end zone. So they will start their drive yet again on the 20-yard line, but take a look at this touchdown yet again, Colin.
This is just a great call, like I said earlier. Having sold the run so much on that drive, to go to the air was definitely a bold decision, and it paid off for them.
Most definitely did pay off, and getting those points early on in the contest is huge, as you know. If you can get some points on the board, gain some confidence, and that really pays big dividends later on in the game.
Makes anything possible for sure.
It's now Gino Pellegrini and his offense getting ready. 2 wide receivers to the right and 2 to the left. One guy in motion now is Hunter Perry. Actually give the ball off to number 10. That's going to be Travis Little. Little has some space in front of him. He pushes one defender off and gets out to just about the 38-yard line. So another tough run from this Charleroi Cougars team.
Strong runs seem to be the order of the day so far, as he gets around the edge there and makes his way upfield. Lots of stiff arms today as well.
I believe it was Travis Little that stiff-armed another Southmoreland Scotty earlier on in this contest on their first drive. So, like you said, it just might be the order that the doctors prescribing for this Charleroi team. Hunter Perry now in motion. He's going to get it, move over to the far side of the field. Pushing up the field, has blocking in front of him as he's streaking down the left side of the field. It looks like he's going to get into the end zone. Good blocking there from number 11, Dakota Romantino. A big run. This time it scores yet again.
And I think we might have just found a top 3 play here for High School Roundup. Look at how explosively he moves up the field. Great vision. Just an all-around great play.
And Devin, our replay cameraman, he stuck right with it. Streaked right across the field. Didn't know who was going to get the ball. He stayed on Dakota Romantino as he just ran right down that left sideline and got into the end zone. Charleroi now attempting the extra point, and that extra point is going to be good. So I believe there's 3 plays. Charleroi streaks right down the field, answers right back. Now they take a 14-7 lead with 2 minutes and 7 seconds left. Stay tuned. We have some more high school football right here on CUTV.
Preset 1 for CalU's best music. More music in the car, more music in the door, more music everywhere. This is 91.9 WCAL Power 92. The home of the Vulcan Nation, playing CalU's best music. 91.9 WCAL. WCAL Power 92.
Hello and welcome back into Charleroi, Pennsylvania, as Charleroi answered right back, scoring on a big running play from number 23, Hunter Perry, as well as Dakota Romantino, as they're going to try a squib kick now. Southmoreland gets it, and it looked like some piece of equipment fell off of Southmoreland. The ball seems to be out. Not sure who has it right now, and Southmoreland will keep it. We're going to take another look at this touchdown.
And this is just a great effort, like I said earlier. He just makes his way up the field, and he makes sure that he is going to take it to the house for 6.
I mentioned it was actually Dakota Romantino, but it was Hunter Perry, as you can see on this replay pretty clearly out in front of you. I don't know what I was thinking about Dakota Romantino. 11-23 does not match up whatsoever. As Southmoreland trying to answer back right now. Jaden Datz out there on the field for the Scotties. Under 2 minutes to go right here in the first quarter of play. Up the field now is Colt Harper as he pushes into the second level of defense. Pick up about a gain of 4 on the play.
And Southmoreland seems to be sticking with their game plan from that last possession. They really want to work that ball right up the middle. And they're doing a great job at it.
Resiliency of this offense definitely paying off as they're just attacking the interior of this Cougars defense. And Charleroi really didn't have any answers on that first possession for the Scotties. They kind of just let them go right up the middle of the field, and then they kind of took them off guard by going for a pass.
Perhaps here maybe they'll move to the air a little bit more.
Cade Richer in motion. However, Ronnie Robinson will keep it for Southmoreland. He's going to push up about a gain of 3 on the play. That's about the 45-yard line.
It's a good stop for the Cougars defense. Let's see if they can build themselves some momentum here.
It will be a 3rd and 3, ball on the 45-yard line. Under a minute now to go in the first quarter of play.
And this could be a tone setter for the rest of the game here for the Cougars defense if they can stand tall.
Definitely create some space in between the two teams and really just solidify their spot. On offense, they can run the ball. As we saw in their first 2 possessions, they scored on both. Now Richer in motion. However, Jaden Datz is going to keep it right up the middle of the field. He's going to pick up a 1st down and a little bit more, as that's the 2nd quarterback sneak we've seen in this first quarter of play.
Another tricky call. Almost lost me again on this play. But a nice run there, and Jaden Datz getting the job done.
Now with under 30 seconds left to go, another 1st down, ball on the 38-yard line. Breaks huddle and kind of see if they're going to get another playoff here before the first quarter comes to a close. There's single digits. I believe there's 5 seconds left on the play clock. Jaden Datz is going to keep it on an option this time, and Ronnie Robinson is going to be taken out almost by his own player. Cameron Carter might have got his hand in there, but Zach Carunto kind of clotheslined him, excuse me.
That for sure is definitely a tough hit to take.
And that will be the end of the first quarter as the Cougars are up in this one 14-7. Stay tuned. We have some second quarter action right here on CUTV.
Since 1937, the Student Association Incorporated, known as SAI, has served the CalU student body by providing activities, programs, and services. Every enrolled student has the ability to take part in over 125 different clubs and organizations. Managing participation in every SAI activity is easy with OrgSync, a powerful tool for staying connected. Located 1 mile from campus, the SAI farm has 94 acres of meeting and recreational space. SAI, it's your student association.
Hello and welcome back into Charleroi, Pennsylvania, as Charleroi 14-7, and you know Southmoreland hasn't had their second possession full of the game yet, so you really can't say that Southmoreland has really been just clawed by Charleroi just quite yet, as now they're driving and they're going to have this open second quarter at the 36-yard line. See if they can answer back to Charleroi's potent offense. Jaden Datz is going to give it over to number 22, Colt Harper, and he's going to be stopped in the backfield, losing about 3 on the play.
And once again, it looks like that Cougars defense may have caught on to the game plan. Perhaps sending a blitz here to send a message. We'll see how Southmoreland responds.
I believe that was number 56, Dom Santini, kind of just sat there and put his arms out, kind of just welcoming him into his arms, and he dragged him down for a loss of 2. So that's going to be a 3rd and 12, ball on the 40-yard line. 11 minutes and 20 seconds left before halftime. It's going to be a stoppage as Southmoreland was forced to take a timeout yet again. Maybe that's Jaden Datz, the senior quarterback. You really don't want to see that from a senior guy. You know, you have that experience under your belt. But nonetheless, you have to call a timeout. Nothing really hurt there. As Southmoreland, you see their schedule, and we said 42-7 against a South Park team. We don't really cover South Park much here at CUTV. At least I haven't in my few years that I've been here. But a tough loss, 42-7 early on.
And then, like you said earlier, it's the beginning of the season. Things like that are going to happen. It just is about how you respond in the future. To come out strong and perhaps pick up a W here would definitely put some wind in their sails.
They definitely have a tough little stretch here. Charleroi, Derry, and Beaver Falls. And that Beaver Valley Conference is very tough, as always. But Beaver Falls, after Derry and Charleroi, Tyler Balagan not with Derry anymore, but still just as good of a team. As now Southmoreland with Jaden Datz under center this time. One guy in motion. Looks like he dropped the ball, but he's going to stay on his feet looking to throw, and he's going to have number 22, Colt Harper, wide open, but he's just going to be thrown down. I'm trying to count here, 5, 6 Cougars players out there in the backfield just awaiting him to tackle.
You've got to admire his want here to create something out of nothing, but in that situation, that's definitely a time where you would want to look to throw that out and keep your team level.
Now 4th and 18, an obvious punting situation as Ronald Rodriguez trots back onto the field. You know when he's out there on the field, everything just seems to be a little bit brighter with his cleats as he will punt this one back. And Dakota Romantino will return this punt for the Cougars. Rodriguez gets it, and quite a few Cougars players back there. So Romantino will just let this roll down out to about the 10-yard line. And he will be stopped at, let's see where they mark it. I believe they're going to mark it at the 11-yard line. But there is a flag out there. Good catch by our director, Gary Smith, out there at the 50-yard line, the far side of the field. Couldn't really see it. The side referee threw that out, and it's going to be a false start on Southmoreland. And Charleroi is going to love to have that, move them up just a little bit more.
And we'll see what kind of field position they get out of this.
I don't believe that they are going to take it as their offense is right out there, the 11-yard line. They will as they're moving forward now. Kind of confusing a little bit, Colin. I don't know, you're sitting back and watching the box, but I believe Ronald Rodriguez is coming back out, so they're going to kick it again. I thought at first Charleroi was kind of saying, forget about it, don't worry about it, and then now Ronald Rodriguez is trotting back out.
Definitely a confusing string of events there, but we're right back on track.
Now it's going to be 4th and 22. As the side referee is now talking about position of the ball. That allows another Southmoreland Scotty to come back out onto the field. That's going to be number 55. He wasn't in the right spot. As Rodriguez awaiting the snap. It's a low snap. Rodriguez is going to have to get this one off quick, and does. As Romantino now is just going to sit back yet again. You're going to get it at just about the 20-yard line, so still good field position, 9 yards closer to where they want to be than they would have started their drive before.
No. And that was a good recovery there. That could have caused a lot of danger.
And I mentioned in our our YouTube page, you might be watching live something that's a first at CUTV, live for high school football. This
Definitely
is the first
a big
time.
milestone.
This isn't the first time we went live. However, it's the first time we went for high school football. And it's also your first game that you're announcing for high school football. So definitely cool to get a bunch of firsts in one game.
For sure. We'd like to thank you for being here to watch.
As Charleroi will get their offense started. 10 minutes and 11 seconds left before halftime. Pellegrini's going to drop back to throw and have a wide receiver right out to the far side of the field, just out of the reach of his intended receiver. And that is Dakota Romantino laid out for it. You can't say that he didn't put any effort into it as he tried to lay out and get any finger on the ball that he could.
And what an arm that this kid has. What a throw. Looking a lot like Alex Smith last night in the NFL opener.
As this one fell incomplete, something that Alex Smith really didn't do much last night. And you mentioned Pellegrini's arm strength, and he's only a junior, so he has more time to grow into his body as well, and can't even imagine when he's a senior what he's going to be throwing. So now Pellegrini is barking out the play calls to his offense. 3 wide receivers to the left, 1 to the right, and there's going to be a flag on the play. It is going to be a delay of game as the play clock hits 0, marching back 5 yards. And you don't really want to see that as well. I mentioned that before, but penalties early on in the contest, kind of discouraging for your team and also just halts your progress altogether.
That's definitely a mental mistake, and they'll happen, but like you said, that's something you definitely don't want to see.
As now Pellegrini is going to move out to his right, step back, and now go over to his left, and move over right down the field. It's going to pick up the yards, kind of just reversing field left and right all over the place. He's going to pick up about a gain of 2 on the play.
And just like that, they're right back even, right back where they started. It's a good run, way to get yourself in space and make up those runs.
Make up the flag that they incurred as well. Now 3rd and 9, ball on the 24-yard line. Three wide receivers to the left and 1 to the right. Going to move now over to the left, and Pellegrini's going to throw to a wide open wide receiver. That time it's going to be Travis Little. Kind of had to come back to the ball. Nonetheless, lays out for it and picks up a 1st down and more.
That's a good show of concentration there to be able to keep your feet in and make that diving catch close to the sideline.
So right here, the arm strength, trying to just rocket it right in. Travis Little laying out. Made the catch, excuse me, as he was going down to the ground, something that even NFL players can't even do sometimes, thinking about what the next step is before hauling the catch in. Now with 9 minutes and 40 seconds left before halftime, Pellegrini still in that shotgun set. Hunter Perry moves out to his right, has some blockers in front, cuts back again, staying on his feet, and pick up the 1st down as he goes across the 45-yard line to about the 43.
And that's a very, very elusive move there with some quick feet. Slicing and dicing his way up the field.
Guys flipping over him and everything, and keeps possession of the ball and keeps this offense moving in the right direction. This ball is now on the 42-yard line, 9 minutes and 15 seconds left. As Pellegrini trots out to the field from the sideline. Hunter Perry to his left, 2 wide receivers, 1 to the right and the left. Fakes the throw, play action pass, and he's going to throw it over to Dakota Romantino, and there is a flag on the play, an obvious flag on the play. Pass interference as number 25 for Southmoreland wasn't thinking Cade Richard and just was right in the way as he was trying to make this pass.
And that sets up the Cougar offense with some great field position.
As you see there, it will be pass interference on the Scotties. See on this replay a little bit better definition of what I was talking about. Right here you see he's not looking back to the ball, sees Romantino go up and just really just throws his body into him, not allowing him to make the catch whatsoever. Thought he was going to see a pretty acrobatic catch. Unfortunately, the ball just drops to the turf.
And now they're certainly looking to score a touchdown here. At least get some form of points on the board.
Obviously, yet another 1st down. Ball on the 27-yard line now for Charleroi. 8 minutes and 58 seconds left before halftime. Still in that shotgun set. Pellegrini's going to fire it over to number 8, Ryan Workman. He's going to push forward, about a gain of 9 on the play.
That's the first time we've heard Ryan Workman's name called here today. Another senior on this Cougar team.
I mentioned 2 wide receivers out to the right and left. There's only 1 cornerback matched up to each wide receiver. So there's 2 wide receivers that are wide open, and those are going to be covered by the safeties. And that play allowed that just to open wide up as Gino Pellegrini now forced into his own player after Southmoreland player just ripped his jersey back. But nonetheless, he will pick up a 1st down and more.
As you see right here, he definitely wants to make sure that this play doesn't end poorly. That's a nice effort to be able to make something out of nothing.
I mentioned number 55, Michael Polinsky, just the wrong place at the wrong time, as Gino Pellegrini just flew right into him as Southmoreland just kind of ripped his jersey out. Pellegrini this time over to Hunter Perry. Perry has some open field in front of him and jumps over a Southmoreland player, gets in under the 5-yard line, and they're en route to another touchdown. They're just marching right down the field.
Once again, we're talking about Hunter Perry and the great upfield vision he has.
Perry takes the ball down to the Southmoreland 4-yard line, 1st and goal.
Looks like it's about the 4-yard line now, so it's 1st and goal at the 4. 7 minutes and 55 seconds left before the second quarter comes to a close. Now under center is Gino Pellegrini in that I formation set. One wide receiver to each the left and right. Hunter Perry pushes up the middle of the field, puts his head down. Looks like he gets into the end zone, and the referees are saying it is in the end zone. Charleroi, another rushing touchdown. That's the 3rd scored in this game.
That's a 2-touchdown game for him so far. That's a huge accomplishment.
And getting into the end zone is something that Charleroi will look to continue upon, as they're up now 20-7 pending this extra point. Back to attempt this is Malik Nails. Excuse me, Joe Caruso, as his kick is up and good. They get the score now 21-7. Charleroi keeps pouring it on in this one. Stay tuned. We have some more action as Southmoreland gets the ball right back right here on CUTV.
The longest student-produced show on CUTV. Is back with highlights and analysis, scores and standings, and more. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
And there was a penalty on the play, so in that commercial break, they actually made the extra point. So it still is 21-7, just a little bit later than what I first explained. And you saw on your screen there the high school roundup commercial. And before halftime, before the beginning of halftime even, we're actually going to show the top 3 plays from last week. And Colin, another touchdown for Hunter Perry. He's about 123 in this second quarter already.
If he keeps this up, he might be able to make the entire top 3 list on his own.
Excuse me, it was 125, so even more impressive. I mean, 2 more yards, but Hunter Perry just trying to do anything he possibly can for this Cougars team, looking upfield and just having that vision just to find the holes and to just exploit them.
And a big thanks to our stats guy tonight, Dylan Gaudet, for keeping us informed here in the booth.
He's definitely a football guy, and he's just shown us that by keeping us updated with all these stats and scores. As now another pooch kick, this time from Charleroi, as number 33. Actually, we don't have a 33 on our roster, so a ghost guy out there for the Scotties receives that kick and sets them up about the 30-yard line.
That's a tough kind of kick to take there. You never know quite what angle that's going to come down on. So you definitely have to be on your toes for that.
But nonetheless, Southmoreland, really, they need to answer back. This is really do or die for now. And you're thinking, oh, it's only before halftime. But really, at this point in the game, really need to just keep scoring, trying to do anything you possibly can to get back against this Charleroi team, which really has asserted their dominance thus far. As now a few players in the backfield as Southmoreland pushes forward. I believe that's going to be Colt Harper. See when he pops up, and it was just a jumbled mess back there in the backfield, and Colt Harper came out with the ball.
They're definitely sticking to their game plan. It's worked for them so far, and I don't see any reason why they should change it.
And they're running towards the middle. You might see their offensive coordinator kind of try to switch it up, maybe a pass down the left or the right. But the interior of this defense now is really catching on to their game plan. really trying to not allow this to happen anymore. As now Jaden Datz is going to give it over to number 21, Ronnie Robinson. He's going to be pushed out, halted his progress, maybe even getting back to the line of scrimmage on that play.
I might have spoke too soon there earlier. Maybe it might be time for some form of change like you hinted at earlier. Maybe some short passes.
And they did switch it up on that first drive as they scored on a passing touchdown, but it was in the middle of the field. So not really straying away from that plan that I mentioned before. But it'll be smart. I mean, Charleroi has put up 2 scores since they scored their last one. And Southmoreland really needs to just draw something up on offense to answer back. Stats will get it. Drop back in the pocket now. Has a couple ensuing defenders for Charleroi. Pushing out to the right. Really has to just get out of bounds, and he will. Won't pick up the first down. Will about pick up a gain of 1 on the play, if that. And that's just forced, and that pressure from the interior defense getting right through Southmoreland's offensive line.
And as I'm watching on the box here, I almost thought he had a chance to break upfield. I didn't notice some of the Cougar defenders approaching.
It's one thing a little bit different about Charleroi. We kind of just work with whatever they give us, and very gracious that they allowed us to come out to this this game to cover. But we have our 2 cameras right in front of us. I'm kind of standing towards the balcony, and Colin is really forced to watch from the box and kind of look over the shoulders of both of our cameramen. But it's kind of tough, but we got to deal with what we have. So Ronald Rodriguez back out there on the field. Everything got a little bit brighter, as I mentioned. Rodriguez is going to be just a spiral punt. Romantino there to receive it. However, number 25, Cade Richer, will catch the ball after it bounces up into the turf. And that's where Charleroi will set up shop at just about the 40-yard line. So just getting great field position. And Colin, we have a Twitter as well, and you're a big Twitter bug.
Oh, that's right. I love Twitter, and you see us down here in this graphic on your screen at CUTV_PA. We've got lots of great stuff on our page. We've got high school polls that you can help to influence for high school roundup. We've got pictures. We've got all sorts of videos. Definitely, if you're a Twitter person, give us a follow.
I think you can even see your puppy on that page. I believe we posted that on there, if not just high school roundup. But it's always good. We have a good diverse things on our Twitter as Gino Pellegrini will streak up the right side of the field. Big runs here for Charleroi as he will be thrown out at just about the 23-yard line. Here, I'm distracted by talking about a dog, and Gino Pellegrini's doing work out there on the football field.
He is putting in work indeed. The way he moved up the field there, that definitely must have been something they worked on practice this week. Exploding up the field with lots of speed.
He was trying to answer right back to Hunter Perry. He's trying to do him one better as Gino Pellegrini just broke that play wide open. Now they have another first down at the 23-yard line. Pellegrini in that shotgun formation set. And as I mentioned, Hunter Perry's to his left as Pellegrini will rifle a pass over to Dakota Romantino just out of the reach. Perfectly placed, though. Just looked like he put a little bit too much mustard on it.
Just a little bit too much mustard there, and he would have had himself a dime of a pass here as you see it again. Perfect spiral, perfect arc, just a little bit too much.
And Dylan Godet, our stats guy, was mentioning that Monesen's quarterback last week had a beautiful throw. I'm not sure, that might have unseated that as just perfectly placed, just a little bit too far, led his receiver too far to the left as Pellegrini will now be in that shotgun formation. 6 minutes and 18 seconds as he's going to throw it over to Travis Little. Little trying to find some space upfield, waits for the block to happen, and then pushes forward before a few Southmoreland players gobble him up.
And that block is just an example of great teamwork, and that's something you want to have with your team.
Now they're going to have a 1st and goal from the 7-yard line as the chain crew throws him down.
We're going to give Ryan Workman a shout out for that block. A lot of times people don't get shout outs for doing work like that, but you, sir, have earned it.
The silent heroes, the blocking, Hunter Perry, that's what allowed him to get that long run down the field. And right there you saw Ryan Workman doing some work. As now over to the right, that's Dakota Romantino. He's going to be pushed out of bounds. I'm not sure. He might have touched the ball to that pylon. We can see here on the replay in just a second. But Dakota Romantino trying to answer right back, trying to make better on that last receiving. Actually did sneak right out of bounds right before his foot came into the end zone.
Right there on the 2-yard line. And Danny, we tried something new here at CUTV today, didn't we?
We did. We tried the DJ Osmo with the Periscope, also posted on our CUTV page. That's what you were talking about, right?
That's right.
Okay,
yeah.
all right, just making sure. Tried a lot of new things. You know, it's trying to read your mind, trying to go into your head. As now number 10, that's going to be Travis Little, pushes over to the right as he was stopped in the middle. He will get into the end zone. Another score for this Charleroi team.
The Cougars are definitely working hard on offense, and it is paying dividends for them. 28 here before the half. That is a huge boost going into the locker room.
I mean, we tried going live tonight on YouTube. We did the DJ Osmo. You're announcing for your first time live. There's a whole bunch of new things first happening today. It's really crazy. As now Charleroi extra point will be blocked. So the score will remain 27-7 with 5 minutes and 38 seconds left before halftime. Charleroi goes up 27-7 right here on CUTV.
Dylan, what's wrong, man?
I just don't know how my family back home in Buchanan, West Virginia can watch our stuff up here.
They can follow us on Twitter, or they can like us on Facebook.
That's awesome. What about our sports? How can they watch that?
They could watch it live right on our YouTube channel.
Awesome, man. Thanks.
You're welcome.
For the first time in 31 years, live high school football all season long on CUTV Sports 1.
Hello and welcome back into Myron Patio Stadium. And you saw there, right there on that commercial, all of our social medias covered. Great work from our summer crew with Dylan Godet, and great job from Stephen Ruffing as well. As Southmoreland will receive this kick, and there will be a flag out actually. Just an explosive play right up the middle of the field on that return. So we're going to see what the flag is right here. You always like to, you don't want to see, I almost said you like to see, you don't want to see blocks in the back, the most common penalty that you see on kickoffs. Take a look at this replay yet again, Colin. Just watch the offensive line here just kind of form around him and just help Travis Little get into the end zone.
You're right. Just a great effort all around by all of those guys to make that into 6.
Southmoreland will now set up shop. It'll be a holding. So they will set up shop at the 25-yard line. Kind of unsure what happened at first. We were talking about the penalties that you most see on kickoffs, and then there was actually a penalty, there was a holding call, so that's where they will start their 4th drive of the game. 5 minutes and 30 seconds left before halftime. Being down 20 points in this one, 27-7. Colin, say you're the offensive coordinator. What do you draw up?
Realistically, that's just one of the situations where you pick something and see if it sticks. There's so many different ways that you can go. You can continue to run like you see here.
Southmoreland's really not taking your advice, as they seem to just be sticking with that same game plan. But I agree with you. I mean, you see it, they're attacking the interior of this offense repetitively. They're not really getting anywhere after they scored that first drive. They scored on a pass in the middle of the field. And now Charleroi is just picking up on what they're doing and stopping them, getting the ball back, and they're scoring.
For sure. It definitely seems as if they're being very one-dimensional on offense so far.
And with under 5 minutes left to go now, you really have to draw something up. You want to go into halftime with high spirits and your head held high, as now 22 Colt Harper is going to push in the middle of the field yet again and not getting really much of anywhere, as he's going to pick up about a gain of 1 on the play. So now it's about a gain 3rd and 7.
They do definitely seem to be comfortable towards the middle of that field.
Now 4 minutes and 30 seconds left. As Jaden Datz, it's actually going to be Brandon Peterson talking to the head coach, barking out the play calls to Jaden Datz. And that shotgun set, 2 wide receivers to both the right and left. And there is a flag on the play. I'm not sure if it's another delay of game. And it will be a delay of game. That's our second one. You don't really see that much. But in high school, really maybe not paying attention to the play clock much. You know, those are just things that you really have to just wipe off, as there's now 6 penalties in this contest.
That's definitely something you don't see every day in a high school game.
Now with under 4 minutes left, 3rd and 12, ball on the 23-yard line for Southmoreland. Jaden Datz trying to pick up his team and get some more points up on the board, something they haven't done in quite a few drives. As Datz now rolls out to the right, gets bowled over by a few defenders and tries to throw around the right side, and almost an interception there from Dakota Romantino. And he's staying out for offense and defense, trying to do anything he possibly can for this Cougars team.
And that's a good effort there by the number 11, the sophomore, Riley Conforti, diving for that and almost pulling that back in.
Both 11s out there on the field for Charleroi and Southmoreland. It's now Ronald Rodriguez back out on the field. We'll have to punt, and Dakota Romantino, another name that I just mentioned, he's out there to return the punt now. So there is now 4 seconds left on the play clock. Rodriguez gets it and punts this one just about fielded at the 50-yard line, bounces right off the chest protector of Dakota Romantino and just gobbled up by a few guys, maybe about a gain of 1 on the play. It seemed like everybody was right there just to stop his progress before he could even get started.
For a second there, I almost thought that Southmoreland actually recovered that. I saw somebody on the ground there on that midfield logo, curled over, and it looked like they had the ball.
And we're going to look at the Facebook now, California University Television. We pretty much do the same thing on our Twitter page as we do with our Facebook. We post our event calendar on there as well. You can set some reminders maybe to come out to a football game, as we're all around the Mon Valley, all over southwestern Pennsylvania.
And let's not forget our great Facebook Live broadcasts.
Love to do that now. Facebook making their live availability, and we're taking full advantage of that down here at CUTV. Love going live. As now Pellegrini, going through his progressions, finds the wide open player right in the middle of that flat as Sammy Roca, another name that we haven't mentioned, and he is a senior. He gets started later on in this second quarter and picks up about a gain of 9 on the play.
As you see here, this drop back leads to a nice gain for the Cougars offense.
And Gino Pellegrini, as I mentioned before, his seniority on this team just shows it right there. It's very evident as he was going through his progressions, looking at all of his wide receivers, then finding the wide open Sammy Roca in the flat and just getting some yards out there on the field, trying to hopefully move the chains. As Roca will get his number called yet again, this time pushing up the field, will drag another Southmoreland player with him. This resilient and a strong team of Charleroi making their presence known with some stiff arms, dragging players out there on the field.
And Danny, we've definitely made resilience known so far in this game. We've been preaching on how big of a thing that's played in this game so far.
And Southmoreland kind of just trying to answer back any way they possibly can. As now Charleroi is marching right down the field, and in the background you might see the marching band walking out there for their halftime performance. Now with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left before halftime, and there's a flag on the play. However, they're going to call this one dead, I believe. They will. It's going to be on the offense. See what the call is from the head referee. And it's going to be a false start on the offense. 5 yards, so marching back to about the 37-yard line. 7 penalties now. And Colin, you can see both teams kind of struggling just a little bit. Delay of game for Southmoreland and Charleroi, and now for some false starts, maybe some encroachment or offsides. You see those all over the place.
It's just mental mistakes, and they happen. It's a part of the game. It's just about how you respond to them is what matters.
Pellegrini now rolling out and looking to throw, rifling a pass right in the middle of the field, just a little bit short. And there is a flag on the play. Maybe some extracurricular barking out there.
You'll see that throw again. Once again, we see the great arm strength of Gino Pellegrini.
This flag will actually be pass interference on Southmoreland. Some jersey pulling quite possible out there on the field. Just now march them up a little bit more. And they will set up shop at the 22-yard line. Another first down for the Cougars.
We'll see what they draw up here. Heading towards the red zone.
There's the whistles aplenty out there on the field. Referees running all over the place. Drawing everybody's attention. They're not really saying anything. Maybe discussing where they're going to place the ball. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the referees are doing out there.
Definitely a wild card situation. Now we're ready.
Now under 2 minutes to play, and another flag comes in now. That's 8 penalties, all for Southmoreland. I was mentioning before that was 6 penalties, but that's just for Southmoreland. Southmoreland really cannot do that. They need to be smart, level-headed out there for Charleroi, as they've only had 3 penalties. So marching forward yet again. So now they're going to have it at the 17-yard line.
Just being down doesn't necessarily mean that you're out, but you might put yourself out of the game if you keep making mistakes like that.
It's Pellegrini in that shotgun set. Finally get a play to go off. As a run and the ball is out. Pellegrini heads up play by him, just jumping on that ball, sees it pop right out, and just puts his body on the ball.
Take a look at this. Once again, it's hard to tell how that ball actually got free. But I do think 22 might have made the strip on that.
It looked like quite a few players for Charleroi thought the play was over. They were kind of just looking back, looking up in the air and doing nothing, and then all of a sudden they see the ball pop out and they all huddle over to the ball. It's now Pellegrini in that shotgun formation yet again. 1 minute and 10 seconds left. Drops back to throw and tosses right over the middle of the field. A good pass break up there from number 9, Chad Miller. Heads up play by him. Sees the ball coming right at him and just puts his hand out and knocks it down to the turf.
It's a big attempt to thread the needle there, for sure. But like you said, a great defensive play to get in between that and break that up.
Something also to mention, the wind is picking up as well. I might hear it on our mics a little bit. But now it's getting a little bit chilly out. I'm in a short sleeve. You have some, maybe a little bit of Under Armour underneath your polo, but I'm only in short sleeves, so I might have to put on a jacket here soon as the sun has now set. Pellegrini rolling out to his right and will rifle a pass, yet again leading his receiver a little bit too far, as Travis Little will not be able to haul that pass in.
Once again, just a little bit too much mustard on this one for the back corner of the end zone.
It will bring up 4th down, so after all those penalties and all that commotion out there on the field, they're going to have to kick this ball away, as number 37, Joe Caruso, runs out onto the field for the Cougars. In this situation, too, you might not always see a kick in this situation for most teams. His kick is up, and it will be no good to the left, and we're going to keep it here. And Charleroi, in that situation, like I said, you don't really see a lot of teams going for the extra points or going for points at all in that situation on a 4th down, and you're at the 21-yard line. It's a pretty good distance for a kick. You can see our CUTV schedule right here on the screen. Next week, no game. We're going to Millersville to cover for college football for our California Vulcans. Then the week after that, Elizabeth Ford and McGuffey, Franklin Regional at Connellsville, and then there is our PCN game. I mentioned it before, Bell Vernon at Trinity. Makes me rest a little bit easier that I got that one correct. Actually, Trinity at Bell Vernon. Sorry, Ryan Kaufman down there kind of telling me to switch things up. Maybe said that a little bit backwards.
Yeah, our schedule is jam-packed full of good, great games here on CUTV. So make sure you stay tuned here on CUTV Sports 1.
We covered that Week 0 matchup with Brownsville and California, so kind of makes up for that game that we're not going to be at. As Jaden Datz luckily got the ball away, although Charleroi is still going to make him pay for it. as they're actually going to get back to the line of scrimmage. So good thing for them. That play could have been disastrous, as Jaden Datz was just really gobbled up. Right there, you can see there on the screen, Charleroi was in the backfield right away.
That's a bold decision to toss the football like that. He's lucky it paid off without causing a turnover.
And they will say that he got back to the line of scrimmage. Ball on the 21-yard line. Just about 21 seconds left now. Jaden Datz still in that shotgun formation. One guy in motion. And right up the middle of the field goes the Scotties, now with 10 seconds left to play and counting. And I believe Southmoreland will call a timeout. 7 seconds left. Kind of wonder, what are you going to do? I mean, you're at the 24-yard line, 25, maybe a little bit. Actually, no, they're going to mark at the 30-yard line. So what are you going to do, Colin?
A little bit of 4 verticals action.
Colin,
that's what I would pick.
A little play from Madden in there. Kind of just throw it deep. Maybe even see some pitch backs, maybe a 4 verticals. Guy catches it, throws it back. Probably not going to happen, but they might kneel it. Ryan Kaufman, the offensive coordinator for Southmoreland, out there on the field. But with 7 seconds left, Charleroi really expecting exactly everything that you're talking about. The 4 verticals, they're out there. There's going to be extra secondary. And these safeties, though, have to crank down a little bit. You don't really want to allow Southmoreland to score a touchdown this late in the second quarter, right before halftime. So now only going to have 2 wide receivers spread out. One guy in motion. And they're going to toss it out. And they're going to do a trick play, as now he's going to be gobbled up and really pay for that trick play, as now they're going to go into halftime. Charleroi up 27-7, and just asserting their dominance. Allowed Southmoreland to score right off the bat, but haven't scored since. And before the halftime break, we're actually going to look at the high school roundup top 3 plays, like I mentioned. And then right after that, we're going to have some bands for you, so stay tuned right here on CUTV. Hello and welcome back into Myron Patio Stadium, as we have the Southmoreland High School Band first, and then after them, the Charleroi Bands.
Our 2017 show is entitled I Am, with musical selections from Harold Arlen, Gustav Holst, Richard Saucedo, Lin-Manuel Miranda, and Lady Gaga. Each of us brings something very unique to the world. That something is us. We should all trust in who we are and cherish what is special about each and every one, knowing in the end that who we are is always enough. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you enjoy the 2015 Southmoreland Marching Band and I Am. Drum Major Grace Vivio, is your band ready? Southmoreland Marching Band, you may now take the field for tonight's performance. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2017 Southmoreland Marching Band. The band is under the field direction of Grace Vivio. Commanding officers are Morgan Conti and Shelby Bryan. Section leaders are Morgan Brown, Shelby Bryan, Abby Springer, Kira Nicholson, Dylan Okolinsky, and Ian Zimmerman. Color guard captains are Mindy Wagner and Alyssa Gaborgo. Music arranged by Mr. Jude Gore, drill designed by Mr. Reed Richardson. The marching band would like to thank the Southmoreland Band Boosters, the Southmoreland Administration, and the Southmoreland School Board for their continued support. The Southmoreland Marching Band thanks you for your attention and support. Have a great evening.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is with great Cougar pride that I introduce to you the 2017-2018 Charleroi High School Marching Band. The band is led onto the field by Senior Drum Major Nick Marucci and Junior Drum Major Liz Machesko. The Charleroi High School Band is under the direction of Miss Laura Picnic. Drumline instructor is Mr. Chad Sands. Our auxiliary and majorettes are instructed and led by Miss Jen DiPentriantono and Miss Carol Slaybaugh. Tonight we want to send you back in time and allow you to hang on to summer a little longer and enjoy a little Beach Boy fun. Our first selection tonight will be I Get Around. Then we're going to get you rockin' and a-rollin' with Barbara Ann, followed by Help Me Rhonda, and we close out the show, leaving you with some good vibration. The Charleroi High School Band will be hosting its annual band festival Saturday, September.
Dylan, what's wrong, man?
I just don't know how my family back home in Buchanan, West Virginia can watch our stuff up here.
They can follow us on Twitter, or they can like us on Facebook.
That's awesome. What about our sports? How can they watch that?
They could watch it live right on our YouTube channel.
Awesome, man. Thanks.
You're welcome.
The Friday Night Lights shine on CUTV. August 25th, California at Brownsville. September 1st, Menneson at Carmichael's. September 8th, Southmoreland at Charleroi. September 22nd, McGuffey at Elizabeth Forward. September 29th, Franklin Regional at Connellsville. October 6th, Trinity at Bell Vernon. October 13th, Rochester at California. October 20th, Newcastle at Ringgold. October 27th, Washington at Best Center. Live on CUTV Sports 1, tape delay, CUTV.
Yeah. Myron Patio Stadium. And Colin, a game in the first half, 27-7, it seemed like Southmoreland just kept running the ball right up the middle of the field, couldn't get anywhere other than that first drive, and just allowed Charleroi to put up 20 points since that first drive.
Well, that's definitely something they most likely discussed in the locker room over the half, maybe a different way to attack this Cougars defense.
And they're definitely going to have to early, as they will get the ball back, if I remember correctly. You see here on the halftime stats, Southmoreland 99 yards rushing, only 2 yards passing. You cannot allow that. And that 2 yards passing was from the touchdown. They were 2 yards out.
We've got a total of 101 that you can see there, but still, 2 yards, if you become more two-dimensional, I feel like it would pay dividends for them.
And for the other side, Charleroi, 221 yards rushing and 77 yards passing. So they're definitely mixing it up with a total of just under 300 yards at 298. But the penalties are huge. Southmoreland 8 penalties, and those happened later on in that second quarter, and that allowed Charleroi to just keep scoring, keep getting on the board. And that time of possession also something big. Southmoreland only at 9 minutes and 17 seconds left, or 9 minutes and 17 seconds total in time of possession. On the other side, Charleroi at 13 minutes and 33 seconds. And that's what you see. That's how the score is. That's why the scoreboard is tilted a little bit in the favor of Charleroi at 27-7. But as I mentioned, Southmoreland definitely has to get started early, mix up some plays. They were rushing the ball a lot early, so you might see them come out in this second half and pass the ball. That's something that you always see in the upper levels of football. But you see on the replay here, this is really how Charleroi got started. Gino Pellegrini on the ground, and then right here you see the 2-yard pass. Actually, a little bit longer than 2-yard passes. The passing might have been accumulated from maybe a pass that resulted in a loss of gain on the play. And then Hunter Perry, this huge run down the left side of the field, and that really ignited this Charleroi team. That's really when they started to pour on the points.
And it's interesting to note that at this point in the game, he has 125 yards on the ground. That's a little bit more than half the total yards on the ground for the whole team.
Yeah, that's definitely something that you can see. Charleroi, they're used to him running the ball, and they just keep on exploiting that of Southmoreland. And both teams are out there on the field as they're just trying to really go out into the second half, start on the right foot. And as I mentioned before, and kind of in the second quarter a little bit, how cold it got. We're both wearing sweatshirts now. It got a little bit chilly, as everybody up here, other than Ryan Kaufman, is the lone guy who's not wearing a sweatshirt. He's braving the elements on camera now. He was our kind of the offensive coordinator for Southmoreland. Now he's the cameraman for CUTV, and also our statistician, Dylan Godet, switching over to camera 1, something that you don't really see much. Dylan just kind of jumped right into announcing, and now, you know, he's on camera. He's getting his feet wet in camera and starting to see the behind the scenes of CUTV. And everybody has a job here. We had a statistician before, like I mentioned before. We had an offensive coordinator. We have people watching the live feed. We have a graphics operator.
We even have a student director, Anthony D'Agostino.
We do. And then a regular director in Gary Smith. Not saying he's not special. He's the guy who really runs the show here at CUTV. And we also have an audio. We have all across the board. And then we have people just watching in the background, our Video 1 students trying to learn a little bit the tricks of the trade here at CUTV. As Southmoreland will get the ball at the 30-yard line. A huge hit to start off this game. Really set the tone for Charleroi and their defense, letting them know that they can't run the ball on this Charleroi team.
That reminds me of the old days of Madden when you used to be able to use the hit stick. That is definitely what that looked like down there.
Kind of looked like he just threw his shoulder into him, spun him around, gave him a little bit of a ride as he falls out of bounds. But I mentioned they still start the ball, or start their first possession of the second half at the 31-yard line. Some great field position. We mentioned field position quite a bit in that first half of play. But Southmoreland and Jaden Datz getting a second half action underway. So we'll get it, and there will be a flag, and I do believe that there will be a false start, if my eyes don't fail me, on Ronnie Robinson, as it looked like he lifted his foot ready to start. However, it was just a little bit too early.
And once again, this offense is just right back at it, committing these penalties.
And this penalty play team of Southmoreland keeps it going. They really have to break that habit, and the head coach for Southmoreland really has to just be preaching to his players that you can't do that. And you think he would have already done that in the halftime break, but now coming out in the first, really I can't even say it was the first play, as they didn't even get a snap off, and there's already a penalty. It's now backed up to the 26-yard line. Jaden Datz drops back in the pocket to throw over to number 8, and we actually do not have a number 8 on our roster either. We printed out rosters, and even they gave us some of their own. It doesn't have an 88 or a 33.
We're in the Magic City with lots of mystery men here. An interesting evening for sure.
It's actually number 9 on that play. Thought it was 8. Eyes might have failed me. That was Chad Miller. And we called quite a few times. And their numbers out there on the field, I'm not going to try to, you know, make it okay. But Chad Miller, his number 9 could look like an 8. As Southmoreland breaks huddle back out there in that shotgun set. So now he's under center. One guy in motion. And they will give it off to him. That is number 25, Cade Richer. And he was going to be stopped in the backfield as now there's going to be a flag on the play yet again. Be interesting to see who it's on. Southmoreland now, if this is called on them, that's their 9th penalty of this contest. It will be a holding on Southmoreland. More penalties. And Colin, what do you tell your team if you're in this situation? What do you really draw up?
At this point, they're fighting so hard to get back into this game, they may not realize the mistakes that they're making. And you definitely have to make that clear if you're part of the coaching staff. Yes, we want to stay in this, and yes, we want to stay feisty, but you got to make sure you're focused as well.
Also, a holding penalty, just getting a little bit outside of the shoulder pads, and it's something that you can't do, really halt the progress of the guy that you're against. And with Southmoreland, that's, I believe, probably the 4th holding penalty in this contest. Other ones, delay of games, as well as false starts. As now Jaden Datz is pressured, has to just throw the ball out of bounds. No flag coming in for intentional grounding. And that will bring up a 4th down, and just as quick as that drive started, it's going to end, as now Southmoreland is forced to punt.
It almost seems as if Southmoreland had been running so much because their offensive line is struggling to pick up what the defense is bringing to protect the quarterback for a throw.
It happened quite a few times as Jaden Datz was forced out of the pocket, and that one smartly threw it away and didn't allow anything bad to happen. It's now just about 10 seconds left on the play clock. Rodriguez out there to punt this one away, and his punt will be off And Dakota Romantino will field it at just about the 48-yard line. And you're just gifting them now at this point. Charleroi gets the ball at the 48-yard line, allows them to just march right down the field. And this running offense for Charleroi is just making them pay, really. And now they're just setting them up for even more scores.
Yeah, and you want to be able, it's hard to be able to stay competitive if you keep gifting field position away like that, as you said. It's a tough thing to deal with and come back from.
And this offensive line for Charleroi, or this defensive line for Charleroi, is just bursting right through the line of Southmoreland. And Hunter Perry will get it this time and almost get brought down in the backfield, but will cut over, make another move. 2 moves now, spinning away from a defender, staying on his feet, pushing forward. Strong running is an understatement there for Charleroi.
A textbook example of making something out of nothing right there. Strong push leads to the first down.
This isn't the first time we've seen that from Hunter Perry here tonight, as he just stays on his feet, spins away from guys, just really doing anything he can to move the ball up the field and towards that end zone. It's now Gino Pellegrini still out there on the field, name we've called quite a few times here tonight. 3 wide receivers to his right and 1 to his left. Hunter Perry to his right as well. In the backfield, Gino Pellegrini will keep it himself, trying to move up the middle. Probably not the smartest move, as there was a host of Southmoreland Scotties right there to gobble him up.
Oh, and it seems you've got a little bit of extracurricular activity going on down there in between whistles.
There was quite a few earlier on in the contest with that pass interference call, if you remember correctly. Colin, people were getting up and kind of pushing each other and just really trying to get that position and move a guy out of your way. And that might cause a little bit of pushing and pulling. As now with 9 minutes and 40 seconds left before the end of this third quarter. Ball on the 39-yard line for the Cougars. Drops back to throw. Looks to throw, goes left. It's going to be right into the arms. A big catch there from Dakota Romantino. And another perfectly placed ball from Gino Pellegrini right into the breadbasket.
We can't praise this kid enough. He has got some great stuff, and he is showing it here in the bright lights of Friday Night Football on CUTV.
And we can talk about the great throw, but a great, really just paying attention to where the ball is in the air, making sure that you're in the right position, looking back up over your shoulder. I don't know, did you play football in high school, Colin, at all?
I did not,
You did not. Just having that vision to turn and just move your helmet out of the way so you can see the ball is something that is really a talent. As now 1 player is in motion for Charleroi. It's going to be Cameron Carter out to the right side, pushes 1 guy off, stays on his feet, looking towards a pylon, and he gets into the end zone. Another touchdown, this time on the ground for Charleroi, and their first score of the second half.
Another flawless drive and another great score for this Charleroi offense. As you may or may not have been able to hear the cougar in the background.
The roar of a cougar, that's their war cry, as well as their bell out there in the end zone. You're here a little bit early. We saw their soccer team, the middle school soccer team, and they rang the bell. It's going to be interesting to see if the football team, the high school football team, will do the same. As now they're going to try a 2-point conversion, and they do convert it, making the score now 35-7. And we're going to take another commercial break. Score is 35-7. You see on their screen. Stay tuned for more action right here on CUTV.
Dylan, what's wrong, man?
I just don't know how my family back home in Buchanan, West Virginia can watch our stuff up here.
They can follow us on Twitter, or they can like us on Facebook.
That's awesome. What about our sports? How can they watch that?
They could watch it live right on our YouTube channel.
Awesome, man. Thanks.
You're welcome.
For the first time in 31 years, live high school football all season long on CUTV Sports 1.
Hello and welcome back into Myron Patio Stadium, and another big run from Charleroi puts them on the board yet again, as well as a 2-point conversion. A squib kick here now from the kicker, and another big hit on special teams. They're trying to do their part. However, they set Southmoreland right up yet again, now at the 35-yard line. And Colin, we're going to break down this, why they put some more points up on the board. Another big run, this time from Cameron Carter.
And here is Cameron breaking some tackles on his way in. I think the thing that we want to break down the most here is just the great way they converted for 2 here. That's something you don't see every day in a high school football game. A well-executed fake.
And now Southmoreland snap a little bit high, but Jaden Datz corrals it, as now Ronnie Robinson pushed out to the right, trying to pick up any yards he can, trying to make something out of nothing. Picks up about a gain of 2 on the play. Doesn't do much, but really Southmoreland needs to put their best foot forward now. 9 minutes left in the 3rd quarter of play, trying to answer back to a tough Charleroi team. As we mentioned, both teams last week suffering losses, a 36-6 loss and a 42-7 loss. And Charleroi really just came back with a vengeance in this one. Now with 8 minutes and 37 seconds left. One guy in motion for Southmoreland. They're going to give the ball off this time. It's going to be over to Colt Harper, and he's going to be thrown down suplex style from Charleroi, and the hits are coming up plenty here in the second half of action.
Most definitely a WWE style tackle here with the suplex.
You see that more in wrestling than you do in
football.
In football, yeah, most definitely. As there was a very loud commotion over there from the scoreboard, kind of scared both of us. Not sure if that was on purpose or what, but
definitely got our attention.
So now Southmoreland breaks the huddle, 3rd and 5. As I mentioned before, they have to put their best foot forward, and this 3rd down conversion is a little bit bigger than they think, as flag comes out on the play. There will be a timeout called by the head coach for Southmoreland. And Colin, this 3rd down, they're not really picking up much on the ground. In this situation, do you drop back in the pocket? Do you throw the ball?
You put your best effort forward to do that, yeah. But if you've seen throughout the game so far, they really have not gotten great protection from the offensive line of Southmoreland. But that is definitely something you want to attempt to do here.
Just to get Charleroi off balance. They're getting comfortable really protecting the inside of really their defense. And we're going to look at the schedule yet again. You mentioned the Trinity at Bell Vernon, then the Rochester at California. This is the 2nd time we've seen California this season. See at the end of the season this time. Newcastle at Ringgold and Washington at Beth Center. A game that I'm really circling if I were a fan at home. Newcastle and Ringgold. I've never seen Newcastle yet, and quite a few prospects coming out of Newcastle. I know there's a guy that goes to Ohio State, just got drafted in this past draft, went to Newcastle, and is also his brother plays at Newcastle now too. So it'll be definitely interesting to see some college prospects, even maybe some NFL prospects in that one. As now Southmoreland mentioned this big 3rd down conversion, and he's going to draw out to the right now. Datz fires over, and just out of the reach, almost an interception there from number 8. That was Ryan Workman. And Ryan Workman can't get involved on offense, so he's trying to get involved on defense. Almost picked up a big interception for this Cougars team.
And as you said earlier, Ryan Workman is indeed putting in work here tonight. A huge break up there to get the ball back with the Cougars offense.
Just jumping the route, kind of having that awareness on defense, knowing where everybody is out there on the field, and getting into a spot where you can make a play happen. That's all you can ask for if you're a defensive coordinator. As now Ronald Rodriguez back out on the field for the Scotties. And the punt will be away, as now Charleroi will corral it, and there's not going to call a fair catch, so he's going to get it at the 22-yard line, and almost a big hit there as Cade Richter, kind of picks him up, trying to throw him down. Thankfully, he kind of put his arm out and didn't allow that to happen.
That's one of the things that can happen in games like this. When you see a blowout, oftentimes safety might not be the '1 concern, which it always needs to be.
And Evan McGuire's kind of shaken a little bit after that one. Kind of got lifted up like a little rag doll. 5'7", 155. He's not a big guy, but still to pick him up like that in game, that's kind of scary. It's now Gino Pellegrini in that shotgun formation, kind of give it up on a little bit of a scoop as Hunter Perry, trying to make some space for himself, picks up about a gain of 4 on the play.
Another great run. This kid is putting his best foot forward here tonight, showing just the reason why he may be one of the best running backs in this conference.
Picking up quite a few yards, 100 yards plus, and just working upfield. Southmoreland really having no answer for him tonight. With under 7 minutes left. Pellegrini breaking the huddle. Now with 3 wide receivers to his left, 1 to his right, still in that shotgun set. Defense expecting the throw, and he will throw. This time he'll go right and almost into the arm of Dakota Romantino. There's a flag on the play in the area. It might have been a pass interference as Dakota Romantino is kind of thrown off. Didn't know where the ball was coming from. Maybe see some pushing out there in the secondary. It will actually be a sideline warning on Charleroi. See some coaches kind of creeping out there onto the field. We're going to see in this replay if we can see exactly that. And I don't see anything out of the ordinary there. Kind of didn't really get to see most of the sideline. See right there the head coach for Charleroi, maybe even pointing out to his players, got to back up, stay up off that white line, excuse me.
And here we go with a 2nd and 6.
Scoreboard says 3rd and 6, however, it is a 2nd and 6 after that penalty. And now just directing his players up the field is Cameron Carter staying on his feet. That was a warning, actually, not a flag, as Cameron Carter picked up quite a few yards on that pass and catch.
Especially this great spin move that he puts on here to lose a tackler in the dust, as you'll see right here.
However, there actually is a penalty on the play. It's a chop block on Charleroi. They didn't really even see that penalty come out on the field. And then all of a sudden, you see the head referee walking back out to the spot of the foul. It's going to erase that big play just like that. Going to march the play back to just about the 19-yard line. So I said wipe it away, and he was just about the 48-yard line, and now just like that, he's at the 19-yard line. So that took a big hit to Charleroi's progress. See if they can answer back with a play just as big. They will look to pass again. Pellegrini looks to throw over to the right side yet again, this time in the area of Travis Little, a little bit too far. No pun intended on that one. As Gino Pellegrini, that's probably the 3rd time he's overthrown his intended receiver.
Confidence is key, but sometimes when you step back and you've got a lot of strength in your arm and you know you've got the pop, you might accidentally overthrow people. It'll happen, and it's an easily fixable thing.
As side judge coming over to confer with his comrades. Unsure what they're discussing at this point.
Perhaps where they want to go for dinner after the game.
Talking about a steak dinner in Pittsburgh, you know, what are you talking about at this point? So it wasn't just an incomplete pass. Really nothing happened. There was no flag on the play or anything like that. Everybody's kind of wondering what's going on. Discussing maybe our cameramen kind of having conflicting opinions, maybe the clock, maybe what down it was. Unsure what's going to happen as the referee is coming over. Looks like they're talking to Charleroi's sidelines. And they're going to say it is 4th down. And that's something I mentioned. They said on the scoreboard that it was 3rd down and it was 2nd on the field. So maybe not getting it right in the booth or on the field. Not sure. But nonetheless, this can bring up a 4th down. So Southmoreland gets another shot as the return man is sitting out just about the 49-yard line for Southmoreland. Caleb Carson in there to punt it away for the Cougars. And there is a flag coming out. Oh, excuse me. People are saying flag. People are saying timeout for Southmoreland. And Colin, just a whole bunch of confusion out there on the field right now.
Yes, indeed. There is quite a bit of confusion going on out there.
People are saying timeout. However, another side judge was throwing out the flag. 2 flags coming out, and then they're going over and picking it up, and then now a timeout.
My ears may or may not be failing me here, but I might have heard just a little bit of thunder.
There was a little bit of some darker clouds rolling into this area, but he said it was a little bit south of us. We have 2 meteorologists on camera tonight. I believe that was the crowd, though. You can kind of hear now everybody kind of just jumping around in the crowd as there is no storms in the area. And that was a thunderous crowd you might have been hearing, Colin, as the punt was just off in time. Southmoreland will get it at just about the 41-yard line. We'll see if it's keep rolling. They're going to get it at the 40-yard line. And actually, the guy who punted it was a guy who kept it. Yeah, he went down there and possessed the ball for Charleroi and stopped their progress. So just like that now, Colin, with 6 minutes and 6 seconds left, Charleroi punted the ball away, and now Southmoreland set up, and they need to score in this situation.
And we'll be right back at it here on CUTV tomorrow with the Cheney Wolves coming to take a contest against the California Vulcans, who are ranked 5th in the country in Division II football.
It's a big matchup. Last season, California went to Cheney, the first time I've actually even seen Cheney's campus. And California went in there and whooped them 79-3. Big contest, and California trying to stay on that same track as Southmoreland now tries to rush up the middle yet again. Cannot get any yards forward against this tough Cougars defense.
Yeah, the front of that defense is definitely continuing to shine for this Charleroi team.
5 minutes and 45 seconds now. And Jaden Datz is kind of yelling at his offensive lineman, kind of saying, just do your job. Block a guy and just find your marker, and that's always something big for offensive linemen. If you let one guy get out of your sights, he might get in the backfield and cause some havoc, and that might be something that Jaden Datz is kind of just harping at his players right now. As Datz drops back to throw, feeling some pressure, moving out to his right. A big block picked up, and then he was hit hard, but he'll get the ball away and throw it out of bounds. And as I mentioned, that offensive lineman might have let another guy slip through his reach, as that was number 71, who I was looking at, that Jaden Datz was yelling at before. That was Cameron Ambrisco. And, you don't want to see that. If your offensive linemen are kind of getting frustrated with you, they might let a guy get right through and hit you one time. You don't really want to see that if they're out there on the football field.
Yeah, pressure can be frustrating, but that doesn't mean you need to shy away from throwing the football.
It's definitely not, because you're also trying to draw something up that can really get an answer back. You haven't scored since the first drive of this ball game. 5 minutes and 17 seconds left in the third quarter. This is the time. As Datz now rolls out to his left, looks back, tries to get another hole, and he will. More room in front of him, as he will now just run the ball up the field and push forward. I believe a first down if he stays in bounds. We'll see where they're going to mark him. I believe they're going to give him the first down on that play.
We have a replay here. Quite a good set of skills there to keep that play alive. And I know we've been talking about it a lot this game, but making something out of nothing.
Big play there, big block from Ryan Morrow, and that really allowed him to get the first down, and they will pick up the first down as the ball is now on the 49-yard line. It's a great pickup there from Jaden Datz, trying to just keep that ball alive, keep the play alive even. He's now in that pistol formation as they're going to give the ball right up the middle yet again. This time, Ronnie Robinson straight up the gut, and he's going to pick up about a gain of 1 on the play.
And they're once again settling back into their offense. And when it comes to a game like this, realistically, you try to do anything that can work.
We saw a little bit of trickery towards the end of that first quarter, or the second quarter, excuse me, but in the first half. And a trick play didn't really get anything going under the butts of this Southmoreland team, and just trying to ignite a fire, trying to do anything they possibly can on offense, trying to cause some havoc, as Ronnie Robinson now finds a hole right up the middle, and that's something that they've been trying to do all night. And that was all thanks to Ronnie Robinson, as he reversed fields. Check out this replay right in front of you, as just kind of slipped right through the arms of Charleroi and almost broke it. Although a good arm tackle from the Cougars, you really can't say a good arm tackle ever. Arm tackles normally don't work out. Ronnie Robinson looked like he was kind of favoring his right leg on that one. Maybe got a little bit banged up.
Looks like a vintage play from that first drive of the game that we saw.
Now with 3 minutes and 40 seconds left in the third quarter, Jaden Datz, a pretty strong snap, and doesn't allow that to get corralled, as Chad Miller gets stopped in the backfield. That time was big number 55, Michael Polinsky.
That's good awareness to be able to come off that block and stop that runner in the backfield.
That's the second time I mentioned a defensive player tonight. Normally, it's a little too quick. I can't even mention him, but Michael Polinsky has been wreaking havoc in the backfield for the Scotties here tonight. Just getting back there, putting his arms out, and just trying to bring the offensive player right into his grasp. Now with 3 minutes left, Jaden Datz trying to get his defense, or his offense started, as another snap gone wrong. As Jaden Datz gets back to, picks up about a gain of 4. I was going to say he picked up the line of scrimmage, but reaches forward and picks up about a gain of 4.
It almost seems as if there's a bit of confusion between the Southmoreland center and quarterback, almost as if they're not on the same page.
Most definitely is the case, as you know, they're kind of off balance and kind of even talking a little bit more about when the play is going to be snapped, and then all of a sudden it gets snapped and Jaden Datz is off balance. Kind of scares him a little bit. It's the second one in a row. So now with 2 minutes and 10 seconds left, Southmoreland is faced with a big third down yet again. Another flag out there. And it is going to be another timeout. So referees saying there's a timeout, some saying that there's a flag. That's the second time that that's happened. Kind of confusing for us as announcers.
And we'll take a look at this huddle down here for the Charleroi team and wonder what they're discussing down there right now. Danny, any thoughts?
They're probably talking about this McGuffey and Elizabeth Forward game. I think that's what they're talking about. They're trying to see who they're facing next week. But for us, we're not facing them next week. We're looking 2 weeks from now. McGuffey and at Elizabeth Forward. And Elizabeth Forward is just really, they're trying to take on this McGuffey team. And it's early on in the season. We're actually going to be covering it. This is our 4th game that we're going to be covering this season. But this is actually the 5th game that they're going to be playing for Elizabeth Forward and McGuffey. So that game is the bulk of the season where it's really crunch time. You really have to just get your offense going quick. That's when you start thinking about, it's a little bit in the middle of the season, but playoffs, you even have to be thinking about that, how you're going to work your offense into that
so
kind of play style.
Yet so far away.
It most definitely is. It kind of seems like the Millersville trip. I mean, I came to school a little bit earlier than everybody else did. I know you came in the same day, but this Millersville trip seemed like it was ages from now, and now that's just next week. So now Jaden Datz drops back in the pocket, looks to throw, feeling a lot of pressure from Charleroi, and Charleroi almost intercepted the ball, but if he intercepted it, it would have been out of bounds anyway, as Jaden Datz just tried to rifle that one down the sideline.
And the good hands from Travis Little over there on the sidelines to almost actually grab a pick here. Just a little out of bounds.
That punt, we're going to keep just driving that home. Little to little, you know, Travis Little a little too outside, a little short. But, you know, it's what you got to do as an announcer. You just try to keep your crowd entertained. 4th and 12 now, as it looks like Ronald Rodriguez is going to try to pin Charleroi deep in their own territory. And he actually, heads up catch there from Anthony D'Agostino, our student director, as you called him, Colin. Actually, before that, there's going to be a flag, and it is going to be another delay of game on Southmoreland, so just halt that. I don't believe that they're actually even going to be attempting this field goal now, but they had a field goal tee out there.
That's very interesting. Anthony says the tee is, in fact, still out there.
I don't know if they're going to try to break a high school record, and they're not now, actually, as he trots back off the field and Jaden Datz comes back on. The clock is still running. Now with 10 seconds left on the play clock. Just trying to get the play off quick, as now with 5 seconds left. Want to be interesting to see if they get the playoff, and they will, as Jaden Datz drops back to throw, feeling the pressure yet again. Datz runs out to his right, and there might be a holding call as there's a flag out there on the field, throwing across his body, something you never do. Dylan Godet used to be a quarterback at the college level for California. Gotta see if he was shaking his head on that play, and it will be a holding on Southmoreland, so it doesn't matter. Just wipe that right off as Charleroi will take over on offense.
And all night, the story has been this quarterback is just not getting very much protection from his offensive line to make things happen.
And right there, you see the head coach for Southmoreland. Got to be just kind of frustrated. You know, that first drive, you got started, you scored right away, and then all of a sudden, just allowed them to go on a tear, scoring 28 unanswered points. It's now Gino Pellegrini out there for the Cougars. 1 minute and 24 seconds left before the fourth quarter begins. Just a little pass out to the flat as number 21 is getting going. That's Sammy Roca, and we mentioned him a little bit before, and there's a penalty on the play. Looks like it's going to be in the backfield for Charleroi. See what they call, but the ball was going to the far side of the field, and Southmoreland was kind of out of position. Might have even seen a block in the back from Charleroi as they're backing up just a bit. Be a personal foul on Charleroi. It'd be a repeat first down, so not sure what the play call was, but good idea from our director there.
Oh.
And Anthony D'Agostino.
It might have been that hit there in that replay. If you saw it, might have been helmet-to-helmet contact.
Hate to see that too. There's all these concussion talk in the NFL and at the college level. This trickles down to even the high school level. Not maybe the best equipment out there on the field, so if you see a head-to-head collision, a little bit more damaging. As Charleroi now sets up, as I said, a repeat of first down. 1st and 25. Hunter Perry now reverses field, goes over to the other side of the field, has some blockers in front of him. Perry now has some open space, gets out to about the 50-yard line, so just wipe that penalty right away and picks up big yards there.
Hunter Perry, the cutback kid here, reversing it the whole way around here, making a big gain.
And we mentioned before, blocking down the field. You saw right there, Dakota Romantino trying to do anything he can to keep his guy in front of him. Unfortunately, just kind of let him go at the last second. But a big play there for Charleroi allows them to get yet another first down.
We've got a confrontation here.
There is a flag. Whole bunch of flags here tonight. Seems like the second half has just been penalties, honestly.
Quite a bit of laundry out there on the field for sure.
But anyways, Colin, so it's the first game you're announcing, you know, anything that really sticking out? I mean, it's just another, actually, excuse me, before I say anything like that, unsportsmanlike conduct on Charleroi. And you were mentioning that, you know, a little bit of extracurricular activities. One thing that I was going to say is you got an eye for things. mentioned a few times looking through that crystal ball, and you mentioned that hit and then the extracurricular activities, and now that comes into play here with this penalty.
A lot of times you'll see that in games like this, as I'd said earlier. A lot of times these guys are getting really chippy, and nobody likes to lose.
Being that you're up this big in this contest, too, for a penalty on Charleroi, what are you doing, honestly? Like, what are you thinking about? You really can't be doing that if you're a head coach. You got to be just harping to your team that you have to be level-headed. You have to be smart. You're up already in this contest. You don't have anything to lose. You don't have anything to gain from, getting into a confrontation, getting into an argument. You never want to see that.
Yeah, and it's definitely something that happens a lot. You'll hear a lot of trash talk between players, and you just can't let that get into your head. And that's definitely universal across all sports, for sure. We've all heard our share of trash talk. But you just can't let that get into your head. You have to stay focused.
I guess at this point, the referees at midfield are discussing who the penalty's on and where they're going to spot the ball at. Looks like they're going to put the ball at the, I don't want to say a yardage yet. It looks like the 31-yard line is where they're going to settle. So they're going to have a lot of space to really make up, as that first down is at the 40-yard line on the other side of the field.
First and 25.
So it's going to be a 1st and 25, ball on the 31-yard line.
Quite a lot of ground to gain here.
Excuse me, making it 1st and 10.
Actually going to have a 1st and 10. Like I said, just confusion, sheer confusion out there on the field. It will be a 1st and 10, ball on the 31-yard line. One guy in motion is Dakota Romantino, and he's going to get it, this time on a sweep over to the left-hand side of your screen. Make some space upfield, and he will be brought down at just about the 35-yard line, so call it a gain of 4 on the play.
And the Cougars are definitely finding a lot of success with sweeps so far this game. I've noticed that from the start. They're getting quality chunks of yardage just like this. It might not seem like a lot, but 4 yards definitely goes a long way.
And earlier on in this possession, kind of seems like it's not so early on just because of the fact that all these penalties have really plagued them on both sides of the ball. But you mentioned the sweeps, and that's really due to your offensive line. If you can get some blocking on both sides of the ball, that allows the guy who's the ball carrier to just make some decisions up the field. And Hunter Perry even scored on a sweep early in the game. As he is forced, he's going to throw over to a wide open Sammy Roca. Sammy Roca moving up the field now. And it looked like the ball was almost out as a guy from Southmoreland kind of jumped onto the turf.
I feel like even Sammy was so surprised how open he was right there. No, it seemed as if nobody was around him for a good few yards.
Pellegrini also stepping up in the pocket, making some space for himself, allowing him to give some extra time for Sammy Roca to just make some space. And, just like that, found him in the open field. So now with 25 seconds left, Hunter Perry is going to get to work yet again. Perry now moving left to right, and he's going to find some space in the open field, make one guy miss, and get into the end zone. Crafty running right there. And you mentioned before, you might see a top play. That might be a top play, if not his other run earlier on in this game.
He's making so many top plays. He's made his own top 3 plays. We could send a whole segment just for him on next week's show. Unreal. This is definitely a gifted kid when it comes to running the football.
And making it miss there, that was number 25 for Southmoreland, Cade Richter, and he was just turned around on that one as Charleroi is now en route to get this extra point, and it will be blocked. And just the guy that got faked out just made the block kick right there. So interesting to see as now Charleroi leads 41-7. Stay tuned as we have a few seconds left in this third quarter before the fourth right here on CUTV.
Friday Night Lights shine on CUTV. August 25th, California at Brownsville. September 1st, Menneson at Carmichaels. September 8th, Southmoreland at Charleroi. September 22nd, McGuffey at Elizabeth Forward. September 29th, Franklin Regional at Connellsville. October 6th, Trinity at Bell Vernon. October 13th, Rochester at California. October 20th, Newcastle at Ringgold. October 27th, Washington at Best Center. Live on CUTV Sports 1, tape delay, CUTV.
Hello and welcome back into the Magic City, and there's nothing magic about this Charleroi team as they are just being explosive in the run game against the Southmoreland team. And now we're going to see another kickoff here for Charleroi, and they're actually going to kick it off from the 40-yard line. But Charleroi just pouring it on really in this contest, even in this second half. So they're going to receive it around the 28-yard line and get out to about the 40. A little bit more, call it the 43-yard line, but another big hit on special teams for the Cougars. Take another look at this touchdown right here and the crafty running from Hunter Perry.
And how can you not take another look at a play like this? Quick feet, lateral movements, all coming together for a great 6 points for the Cougars.
And just reversing field, going all over the place for Charleroi and just making their presence known in the run game. Now with 6 seconds left, this is most likely going to be the last play in the third quarter. As now Jaden Datz gives it over to Ronnie Robinson. Ronnie Robinson pushes one guy off, stays with it though. It's going to get out to just about the line of scrimmage, and we're going to keep it here. That's the end of the third quarter. However, we have something that we do here at CUTV. We like food, so we do a hot dog score, and that's something interesting that we do down here. Charleroi got on the board at 9.55. I don't know, did you have anything to eat, or you just got the water?
I've just been sticking with the water, but what I've heard from Steve, they've got some great hot dogs here.
Yeah, and they're jumbo hot dogs even. They're a little bit thicker than your normal hot dog, and I got one. It was pretty good, in my opinion. But, you know, we see a lot of different concession stands in the Mon Valley, and we like to rate them all. Carmichael's up there high always. Brownsville at 9.5. I thought that was going to be really solidify their spot later on in the season, but the past 2 weeks had just blown it out of the water with a 9.65 and a 9.55. But how was the water then, Colin? Did you like the water?
Oh, it was great water.
Fantastic water. That's always good to hear.
Hot diggity dog. We've got some great dogs here.
They have the funnel cake fries.
I have seen multiple people bring those back, and boy, was I intrigued. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, and a little bit of that powdered sugar on top makes my stomach a little bit rumbly. If you don't eat dinner, come to these games. I don't know how you're surviving not getting anything to eat.
I had a big lunch.
Living off the land, I guess, whatever. As now Southmoreland. Another quarter. See if they're going to score. That's now the second quarter. It's 2 quarters that they haven't scored in. And if you're a Southmoreland coach, you really have to be shaking your head at your offense. In practice, they're most likely going to be running as Jaden Datz gets jumbled up yet again. This time, about a gain of nothing on the play, even not a loss of one. Another flag comes out. You got to think this is in the area of another personal foul. Unsportsmanlike conduct. This time, it's going to be on Southmoreland, and the penalties are just plaguing this Scotty's team.
But really, though, hats off to the referees for being able to keep this game under control and keeping it from spiraling into something very worse, if you will.
Most definitely, and I mean, from my experience, if you see a lot of unsportsmanlike conduct, you're going to see a lot of players on the sidelines kind of just being frustrated, coming out there on the field and making a ruckus. But you don't really see that. You see a lot of people that are level-headed and not really making these unsportsmanlike conducts known. So hopefully that stays down. As now Southmoreland with 11 minutes and 50 seconds left, trying to bounce back after that penalty. 3rd and 24. Long way to go. Ball on the 28-yard line. Datz forced out to his left. This time he's going to chuck it right down the field, and he's going to actually catch it. This one is number 11, Riley Conforti. Picks that right up at just about the 38-yard line. So just like that, we mentioned, get your passing game started, and they're going to reap the benefits right there. Zach Conforti, a big, big, big play.
It's nice to see them be able to get the pass game started here, but almost it might be to the point where it's too little, too late.
Yeah, and being down in this one by 34 points, excuse me, 24 points. Can't do math. Math is not my my forte.
I am right with you there.
Now by 24 points now at 11 minutes and 23 seconds left to go. Dats now rolls out to his right, kind of directing his receivers out there on the play, just keeps moving back, throws the ball away out of bounds, and there is a flag. This time on number 2, Colton Lynn.
That flag seems to have stirred the natives. Quite restless down there.
See what the flag is on the field. Intentional grounding on Southmoreland, and that's going to be a loss of down. But maybe Charleroi was kind of thinking it was on them. Hey, as you said, kind of stirred their natives, really the people at home. They're kind of saying, why throw the flag? But it wasn't on them, so they can kind of rest easy.
This is definitely a game that they can hang their hats on, if you will.
2nd and 33. Long way to go. Ball on the 39-yard line. First down is at the opposing 29. I don't know. This is they have to draw something up where they can pick up quite a few yards in a single play. Stats now, they're actually going to run the ball. Ronnie Robinson has it now, and not going to pick up much. Maybe call it a gain of 1 on the play. And in my opinion, I'm not an offensive coordinator whatsoever, but a pass, maybe something to pick up quite a few yards quick. Colin, what in your opinion?
Sounds like a question you need to direct to our offensive coordinator, Ryan Kaufman.
He's on headset, so, I mean, if he wants to, he can bark out some plays. Maybe Southmoreland would take that into account. Ryan Kaufman said knee, so don't do that. You definitely do not want to do that. Maybe just to keep the clock running. I'm not sure what his rationale is there with 10 minutes and 30 seconds left. Rolls out now, Jaden Dats. Looks like he was going to be brought down, and he's staying on his feet. Another big hit from Charleroi. Kind of cringing up here in the booth. That looked like that was about a shoulder-to-helmet contact. As now Ronald Rodriguez trots back out. And a timeout, almost an injury timeout, but Charleroi player that needed attention, Colton Lynn, will pop right back up and trot over to the sideline.
This quarterback is definitely going to be feeling this game tomorrow, that's for sure.
He's definitely getting beaten up, and I've seen him out there on defense. I've seen him on offense. I've seen him all over the place, and he's getting beaten up everywhere.
So we've got a punt attempt on the way here.
This big number 78, Nick Headley, trots off the field, and Ronald Rodriguez is just going to have to lay on this one. Charleroi gets the ball right back yet again, and Southmoreland just kind of rolling over, it seems like, just making mistakes, penalties. You don't really want to see this. This is early on in the season, too. You want to just get a win.
But here, I'll ask you this. If you're Charleroi at this part of the game, do you attempt to score again?
That's, I mean, with 9 minutes and 53 seconds left to enforce this mercy rule, if you will, just keep the clock running, I think I would. One more score, and then I'd kind of just take my foot off the gas. Like I said, late fourth quarter, they haven't scored in 2 quarters. Just kind of score quick and get off the field, as they have a new face out there. That's going to be number 3, George Lukács, as he's going to be the new quarterback, and Lukács is going to step up and throw over to number 10. And a jumping, that is Travis Little, gets into the end zone. Wow, a flip into the end zone, and that would make SportsCenter stop plays, I guarantee you that. We're going to take a look at this replay.
And look at this here. Just what an effort. That's something you definitely don't see every day.
A flip into the end zone. Wow.
Just wow.
If you're his mom or dad, I'm sure you're cringing. You don't want to see that. Landing on your neck would be disastrous, but George Lukács coming into this game for the first snap and throwing a touchdown, and you don't want to see this. This is kind of adding insult to injury as they don't get it to really into the end zone. Just like that, 47-7, as Charleroi just keeps pouring it on right here. Stay tuned to CUTV.
CUTV News Center is California University of Pennsylvania's award-winning student television newscast. Your source for live, local, late-breaking news. Forecasts from the CalU Weather Center. The region's latest entertainment news. Vulcan sports highlights and regional scoreboards. With television news coverage you can't get anywhere else. Watch it live Thursdays on CUTV and on demand. CUTV News Center. Online all the time.
Welcome back into Myron Patio Stadium. I was kind of tripping over my words a little bit there, sending it to commercial break as there was actually an injury on the field, kind of looking over my shoulder, trying to see what the injury was all about as there's a stoppage in play. But we're actually going to look at this touchdown, a great play getting into the end zone from a few new faces out there.
Yeah, it's quite a way to enter a game for sure. A touchdown pass right off the bat. Can't think of a better way to start your day.
Big flip there from Travis Little as well. Just getting into the end zone and also attempting a two-point conversion. And you mentioned, would you score again? I said, yeah, but I wouldn't go for the two-point conversion. I mean, maybe if it's a fact of you don't want to have your kicker out there on the field, you don't want to. I'm not even sure what the logic was behind that, but nonetheless, the score is now 47-7. So the Scotties now number 25. And that's their runner, Cade Richter. And to do that, to get injured later on in this contest, that hurts your confidence levels. I'm sure that he wasn't intending on getting injured or anything like that. But to come off the field now has to shake your confidence levels for your offense. And you really haven't built your confidence much in this game.
And you never want to see anybody have to leave a game with a serious injury. Hopefully he'll be okay.
So he comes over to the sideline, kind of hobbles off the field, and then once he gets over to the sideline, he kind of just collapsed. So hopefully everything is okay with him. As Southmoreland will take over now as with Charleroi kicking the ball away. But 9 minutes and 45 seconds left, and honestly at this point for Southmoreland, this has to just be looking forward to next week and trying to really just build some confidence for next week, going into the next week's game with your heads up as you're pretty much getting beat out there pretty good.
In a game like this, you definitely want to sit back, look at what worked well for you, take that, and put it into a good game plan that you can use next week, just as you said.
And running right up the middle, too, something that worked at the beginning of this game for Southmoreland, and they just continue to do that. And they're not unpredictable, and that's something that they need to be, as the kick is returned from Southmoreland and will go out of bounds at just about the 22-yard line. But that first drive, they were just marching right down the field with these interior runs and just attacking the inside, really the bulk of Charleroi's defense.
And yeah, it seems, as I've said earlier, they really seem to stay one-dimensional on offense. I feel as if I'm continuing to harp on it, but that's really what we've been seeing this whole game.
And when they mix it up, they get paid for it. You know, they get paid pretty well. A big pass down the field from Jaden Datz. You've seen that quite a few times, and we're going to see if that same theme or moral plays out on this drive. As the clock continues to run. 2 seconds on the play clock. They get the ball snapped. Running right up the field, that was number 9, Chad Miller.
Chad Miller on a carry. Takes the ball out to the 27-yard line for game.
And as you said, Danny, this is definitely a point where you just want to, I wouldn't say fold, but necessarily look forward to next week.
This offensive line for Southmoreland really needs to tighten up now. Kind of a little bit too late to really do that, but like I said, for next week, you really just want to strengthen up a little bit, get these running backs going, and start it early. As another push right in the middle from Charleroi, right up the middle of this offensive line, stops him in the backfield, push back yet again as Colt Harper goes the wrong way.
Perhaps it's time to reach deep into the playbook and try some new things to prepare them for next week.
You know, sometimes these head coaches have some save for a special time in a game, really just ignite a fire. And like you said, Colin, this is the time. This is the time where you have to really draw those up and try something new with your offense, maybe even put a different guy in at quarterback. Just experiment a little bit. Stats is, the snap will actually go over his head. Dad's now trying to avoid pressure and will get thrown down at just about the 6-yard line. So they're going to mark it down at the 8. Just losing yards yet again. First down is at the 32, so they are pushed back, to say the least.
And we'll see what rules here.
It is 4th down, like I mentioned, and with all these snaps going over the head, now you're in the end zone. You definitely don't want to see this go outside the back of the end zone, give Charleroi even more confidence. And there is a flag on the play. And it will be a false start on Southmoreland, and it might have been called on Ronald Rodriguez as he was snapping his hands saying snap the ball, and they weren't calling it as there was a false start. Now the ball is on the 3-yard line. Try this one more time. 6 minutes and 35 seconds left to go in this ball game. Rodriguez's kick is up and in the area of number 17. And that is going to be Eden Cotapelli, and he's pushing forward, and he will actually get into the end zone. A punt return for a touchdown. And just the way you drawn it up, honestly. I mean, you got blockers right down the field, pushing forward up towards there, and just finding the open field.
So many top 10 worthy plays in this week's game, Danny. Unbelievable.
Ethan Caudalupi, I was trying to look for his name on our roster. We haven't called his name ever really at all tonight. And just out there on the field, first punt return and punt return for a touchdown. As now number 37, that is going to be Joe Caruso, going to attempt this extra point. Maybe a little bit of trickery as they try to fake on their last drive. This one looked like it was good. However, there's a flag on the play. That will be a false start on Charleroi. Back him up just a little bit.
Yet again, another penalty in this ball game. We've seen quite a few.
And last season as well, our game on PCN, there's quite a few penalties there as well. So maybe it's just Charleroi. I'm not really sure. As their extra point is up. And it is good. Maybe a little bit of a hand on there, but nonetheless, the Cougars now up 54-7, going all over this Scotties team. Stay tuned for some more fourth quarter action right here on CUTV.
Save preset 1 for Cal U's best music. More music in the car, more music in the door, more music everywhere. This is 91.9 WCAL Power 92. The home of the Vulcan Nation, playing Cal U's best music. 91.9 WCAL. WCAL Power 92.
Hello and welcome back into Myron Patio Stadium as the Cougars then scored on special teams. We were talking about their special teams with their big hits before. Now their scoring ability, as now the score is 54-7. And Colin, this is a little bit one-sided.
We'd like to note that I just received an update that Charleroi got a penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct during our break.
Kind of reporting like you're on a news segment there, Colin. Got a breaking news, as now Southmoreland will field at just about the 40, now getting out to the 45-yard line with Chad Miller. And this is probably the best field position they've had all game long, it seems like.
Here's another look at this touchdown on special teams here. And it seems as if nothing is going wrong for this Cougars team here this evening.
They just get into the end zone at will. And Southmoreland now, as the mercy rule is in effect, and the clock is running, 6 minutes left, 15 seconds left on the play clock. So now Jaden Datz hands it right up the middle yet again, and Charleroi right there again. Pick up about a gain of 3 on the play.
Once again, we see their game plan. Not wanting to try anything new, sticking with the same. There's nothing wrong with that.
If it works, I mean, that's one thing, but they have not scored. Now we're almost going to be talking about if they don't score on this drive, Charleroi just milks the clock out. They're not going to score for 3 quarters. That's definitely something you don't want to happen. And Charleroi is just can't really stop them at all, as Southmoreland tries to push forward, gets out to over the 50-yard line. Ronnie Robinson picks up about a gain of 3 on the play. Looking at a gain of 3, third and just about 2 on the play.
It just seems as if they've struggled to find their groove in this game, as cliche as that sounds.
It will be a 3rd and 4. Ball on the 49-yard line. 4 minutes and 45 seconds left to go. Jaden Datz in that shotgun set. 3 wide receivers to the left, 1 to his right. Datz looking to pass, staying in the pocket, has to step up. A lineman right in front of him as Datz stays up. And there will be a flag. Might have seen a little bit of a face mask as Datz was going down to the turf from Charleroi. It'll be a horse collar, excuse me. You see that sometimes, maybe even the grabbing of a jersey. I thought it would have been a face mask, but it will be a horse collar.
We'll see if we can see it here.
I believe it's going to be right there as you see his head whip back. Great job, great replay from Ryan Kaufman, I believe, getting that replay for us, and then everybody in the truck as well for slowing that down so we were able to see that.
It's a more, I'd say, different penalty that you don't see called very much every day. Something somewhat rare.
It's now with 4 minutes left to go in this contest. Southmoreland still possesses the ball now, 1st and 10, ball on the 36-yard line. And there is a flag on the play coming out. And since the play clock continues to run, and maybe taking some time isn't bad. I'm not sure if the clock was supposed to stop there or what, as they just move the ball back now. I mean, at this point in the game, just let the play clock run out, or let the game clock run out, rather. There's now 3 minutes and 15 seconds left. I believe there was a false start on the play. And that shotgun set still, 1 running back to either side of Jaden Datz. And another snap gone wrong, as this time, actually, that was Zach Carunto. The snap was right over his head.
And an interesting thing that I haven't seen at many high school fields before, a jumbotron, if you will, out there on the field with graphics. That's something you don't see every day.
I know that my high school had it. I'm not sure. Your high school was a little bit smaller than mine. You guys didn't have that at yours?
Oh, no, we had nothing, anything like that.
If you see actually in this press box where we're standing over towards the right of the field, they actually have their old scoreboard. It's a little bit lower quality, lower technology, but nonetheless, this is also called the Rose Bowl of the Mon, so it's one of the best facilities in the Mon Valley that we cover.
I can definitely agree with that. A great bit of hospitality here.
Always like coming out, seeing the different facilities. You've seen single A fields, you've seen triple A fields. You can see the difference between both of them. And this is definitely one of the nicer stadiums, fields, I guess you can say. Now with 1 minute and 35 seconds left to go. One guy in motion for Southmoreland, taking it out to the left side now, something you don't see. Green space in front of him. Good blocking downfield, something that Charleroi has been able to accomplish most of the night. Southmoreland hasn't had that same success.
And here's another look at this great run here to the outside. That is number 25, Cade Richter again.
Now with 1 minute and 5 seconds left to go, you got to be thinking at this point, Southmoreland has really checked out. They're just trying to get one more play off, and 4th and 20. Actually, no, it's going to be a 4th and 10, I believe. A little bit of incorrect on that scoreboard out there. Under a minute left to go now as we're going to pass it over to number 22, Colt Harper, excuse me, and he's going to push forward and pick up the first down. So Charleroi will take over. You got to think in this situation, they're going to run one more play, and then they're going to kneel as we tease high school roundup one more time. We mentioned quite a few times here tonight the top 3 plays, who is going to be mentioned on the top 3 plays, a few different players that you and I were both talking about. See the highlights, standings, top plays, predictions, and more Tuesday through Friday. And Colin, a new thing that we're adding on this show, you and Dylan Godet, both on there doing the hometown scoreboards. Something, do you like that yet?
Oh, it's great. And I think one of the coolest things that we're doing on this show is getting my puppy involved from home. I, of course, have a chocolate lab puppy at home. Her name is Sydney, named after Sidney Crosby.
Of course you have a chocolate lab. You just look like a chocolate lab owner.
And she is, in fact, making picks in our pick'em.
Big hit there from Southmoreland. And that will pretty much round up this game as there is actually a flag on there. But nonetheless, that will signal the end of this game. Score of 54-7. Before we go, just want to give a great thanks to everybody on our crew tonight. We seem like we had the biggest crew, one of the biggest crews in my time here at CUTV.
Definitely a large one.
And our first time with you announcing, did a fantastic job, mind you, as well.
Oh, well, you flatter me. Thank you.
Quite a few cameramen and camera women out here as well, doing the halftime show. And a few bands out here, but nonetheless, another one in the books for Game of the Week. Thank you all for watching, whether it's on CUTV Sports 1 on YouTube or on the live replay that we have later on this week. But nonetheless, that does it here from Charleroi. 54-7 was your final score. Thank you again for watching high school football right here on CUTV.